Wimbledon, Copa America, and of course Euro. It's going to be the Sunday of Champions tomorrow. Hello and welcome back to The House That Happened, sponsored by Shoey's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke. Voted 4 times the best dive bar in all the GTA. It's number 1 in our hearts, the Phoenix rising from the ashes. Hello, I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name is Cruz. How you doing?
Good. It's been a pretty good week. How about yours?
It's been lazy. It's been lazy. You know what I mean? It's called the adjustment to retirement when you have all the time in the world, and if you see my backyard, it looks like pure ghetto. Plants are doing good. I just maybe should mow the grass. You know,
once a week.
Yeah, you know. Well, no, it's been. I won't. We won't go there. You know what I mean? We'll just say it's been all good, and I don't mind the heat. Can I tell everybody?
I know you don't.
I don't mind the heat. I had to change my shirt 3 times in one day from just walking my dog.
I believe it.
Just walking my dog, and I'm not taking him for the long walks because it's hot out.
Yes, it is.
I like it. And my air conditioning's broken. I don't care.
Oh, wow.
The girls aren't happy with this.
I can imagine.
I told them make the call. I love you, dear. Hope you're feeling better.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Anything interesting happening this week?
I went to go see Inside Out 2 with Radhika. That was good. Very good movie.
Good.
I was impressed by it.
Thank you.
Not quite as good as the first one, which
never is.
I mean, it's the Pixar trend, basically. But very good movie. I recommend it for children and adults alike.
Oh, that'd be cool. And you know what just happened? Disney jumped onto my cable thing.
Yes, it's free now with Rogers, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I suddenly got Disney. I didn't know that. I'm watching Get Back again. I don't know why. It's just a great Beatles thing, but
I still gotta watch that.
Oh, it's amazing. I
love Peter Jackson. So
I started watching when I realized we had Disney in the house. I just went to see Get Back. It was about 1 a.m. I didn't go to bed till 3.
They're 3 hours each part.
Exactly,
yeah.
And not only that, I've seen it twice. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to get the Beatles on my 65 or 65, probably the White Album. But I want to make
just one, eh?
Yes, one.
Okay,
that's
fair enough.
I almost had 2, but I'm not.
What was the other one? Rubber Soul?
No, yeah, that was right up there. As once upon a time, in my 50 of 50, if I had done it then, Rubber Soul would definitely have made it because I even like it better than I like Sgt. Pepper's. But they're out. Their catalog's amazing.
Sgt. Pepper's my favorite.
Yeah, no, nothing.
I can listen to Day in the Life.
I have people that have argued who tell me about music podcasts. That's another thing. Well, and quick, there's people that have told me, if you look at the history, how in England they released singles and then they released albums. They had to be separate, and then they sent it over America as like a greatest hits, which I bought as a kid, which I thought would be an album. So actually, if you look to the 2 singles around, one was, I think it was I Am the Walrus, and I think is Strawberry Fields on that's on Sgt. Pepper's, isn't it?
No, it's not.
It's the one that Ben Harper covered. Anyway, there's 2 huge Beatle hits that were recorded during Sgt. Pepper's that did not go on that record that could have even made that album insanely greater. But come on.
Strawberry Fields on Magical Mystery Tour then?
Or maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, because I know I'm the Walrus is on that one.
Yeah, so they kind of bookend, but they were recorded during the sessions, and they had to release a single because the business was weird back then. Well, give them this single. Well, that happened to be just one of the best songs they were writing that day, which is easy for the Beatles, but that's another story. What was I going to say? Yeah, the movie Inside Out 2, right?
Yes.
Good. I'll maybe get my granddaughter to go there. So I'm going to do a very personal shout out, one of 2. Well, first of all, can we just have a big negative shout out that Jonte Portney guy said he is guilty and that guy is going to jail? You know the guy, the Raptor guy?
Yeah.
He going to jail. You know what my take on it? He's bailing out early so mothers don't shoot his ass because this was 20 years ago. The only thing that's saving him is legal.
Yeah.
If this wasn't legal, he'd probably be dead now. But he's going to jail. Or how can he get a claim? Like, they're going to have to throw the book at this guy, right?
I'd imagine.
They're saying 4.5 years at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would depend on the judge. But anyway, we're just saying.
I have no sympathy. That's
why I'm bringing out, because the House That Happens does not ever want to see anything happen to guys like that except for to go to jail. Agreed?
Yep.
My other big shout out, you always have your 10 favorite athletes of all time.
Sure.
Okay. One of mine, 40 years ago today, was the last person to win the males doubles and the males singles at Wimbledon. Do you know who I'm talking about?
John McEnroe.
Thank you very much, my lefty
Lucky
brethren.
guess.
And big shout out to Johnny Mac 40 years ago. Think about that.
Wow.
He won the doubles and he won the singles. And he said the reason he didn't do it before because he might have lost to Borg because he played too many matches in a row, which we'll talk when we get to Wimbledon. So he ran out of gas. And one of the things at Borg, and that's what he stopped doing the doubles so much at Wimbledon. But that's a kind of amazing feat, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
There you go. Any shout outs from you?
I'll have one. I have one, but a couple. I'll save them for the end, though. And I think it's time for our San Francisco Slugger report.
Oh, my God. Do we have to? Of course we do. Okay, guys, you better be listening really closely, okay? We weren't as good as we thought we were, so I'm going to declare it as seniors night. You understand that? There's 3 guys on this team over 65 years old, and we carried that team. We carried that team. I'm not going to say anything about Matty Curran except for his 3-run home run. That put one game away, which is good for us. My beloved son, Zach, who we had a Ken Griffey Jr. senior moment.
Oh, how so?
We played in the outfield side by side.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Okay.
He was in center, you were in
right center,
right?
Yeah, kind of deal. And Dad had to make a flashy catch in front of his son, which everybody appreciated. So, showing that my outfield prowess, everybody knows when we go into the playoffs, I am not an outfielder. My legs are old, okay? I just want to say to the guys, we make too many mistakes, okay? Thank you, BOH. We got to give him a shout out. He hit leadoff for the first time.
Okay.
He did a remarkable job. Okay, we'll give him there. Now, BOH, your glove, we want that to get a little bit tighter.
Does he get on base?
He got on
there
base.
There we go.
You know what I mean?
The Billy Bean approach.
Yes, and one day I'm going to be able to say, and I hope to get there this afternoon, that Cody McDonald's the best ball player on our team. And one day when I retire and I'm old, I'm going to be able to say, hey, I played with Cody McDonald. He's that good. You know what I mean? Big shout out to Pedro, though, our pitcher. Struck out guys with men on base because these guys thought it was self-serve. You know what I mean? And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about our RBI guy and apparently the highest batting average on our team, Anthony, buddy. I was hitting behind Anthony. He went up with the bases loaded, and I said to him, yo, time for your RBI guy. Doubled.
Nice.
Doubled with the bases loaded. Another shout out to Curran. He went out to second base. I got no arm. He said he was going to turn a double play and blow me a quick kiss to the crowd. And he did that. Everyone wondered why. He told me before he was going to do it. So it was kind of cool. Nobody knew what was going on.
That's a Larry Bird move right there.
100%. But then the old man went out in the outfield and showed him after Mr. Curran had a dubious night in the outfield. We still love you, Curran. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The biggest doubleheader of the year is coming up on Tuesday night.
Ooh.
This is for first place in the division. I mean, in our league. So, guys, Pedro, you know what the seniors tell them. Stay focused, bring your A game, and we're going to kick some ass.
So, how did the playoffs work in this league?
We get a bye. We get a bye if we get into first place.
Okay, and then like 2-3?
Yeah.
In the semis? Okay.
Yeah, and then we go on, like something like that.
How many teams in the league?
Only 6.
Okay.
One of them never shows up. They're really, really bad.
Don't you love that?
Oh, yeah. And the other team is, I don't want to say what's going on with baseball, but we're in Brampton. That's all I'm going to say. And a lot of teams that show up have cricket potential.
Okay.
Is that a good way to phrase it?
Actually, I see the guys playing cricket on Martin Grove on the way here. That's how you know it's summer.
100%.
We should join in with them one time. I think cricket's so cool, I just wish I knew the rules.
Exactly. And you know what? One day I wanted to see if I could pick up a guy's cricket paddle, and he said no. Walking by with my dog. And the other guy, when I heard him saying, why didn't you do that? And I said, I don't know. I guess I look criminal. I'm not really sure. But in any event, Sluggers, big night on Tuesday night. Once again, Zachy Lee, you know what you're doing with that lineup. You are the man. You are the manager. And yes, you're a better hitter than BOH. How's that?
There you go.
We know that. No disregard. Oh, I want to shout out to his lovely wife, Jenna, who had a bit of an operation and things have gone really well. All the best to her. We're not forgetting about you, Jenna, okay?
Shout out, Jenna. So I've been reading a lot of Peanuts comic strips lately, right?
I've been rocking a Snoopy shirt.
Yeah. Can you tell me what position Snoopy plays on Charlie Brown's baseball team?
Everyone.
No.
He's shortstop.
Yeah, he's shortstop.
But he plays everyone. They get one run. Remember, he gets a hit, steals second, third, and home.
I haven't read that one yet.
Oh, wait. Is Peppermint Patty going out to talk to Chuck in any of these?
Well, I know she's got like her own team.
Yeah. That shortstop's a weird looking dude, Chuck. Because you see how he wears his hat and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, he's the best. Snoopy.
And they just like catches balls in his mouth.
Oh yeah, all kinds of crazy shit. And not only that, I will admit, everybody that knows me, Snoopy may be top 3, if not number 1 cartoon character for me of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Cool.
Exactly.
Joe Cool. And look at his sidekick, Woodstock. Come on, lays on a roof like nobody, shoots, fights the Red Baron. Mm-hmm. What more can you ask for? And a great shortstop.
A great shortstop. One rookie of the year as well for Charlie Brown's baseball league.
Love it.
Any more shout outs you want to get to?
No, I think that's just about it.
Okay, so there's a couple I want to get to here. So, firstly, the countdown to the Toronto Indy is on.
Yes.
That will be starting on Friday, so I imagine all the barriers will be going up probably on Wednesday, Thursday.
Which means just a massive more congestion to get out into the city. But it's a huge event. Come on.
It is. I love the event. Not quite the greatest race.
Okay, we're not.
It's everything ugly about street circuits is kind of just like all
mashed into one.
Comes into one here. And like I think the drivers like coming to Toronto. I don't think they like the race in particular.
That's the word around the campfire. Just look at that stretch that they run down on Lakeshore. When you're going down there and you look at that, so these cars are going to race down here.
I know.
It's
cool that they go by BMO.
Oh yeah, no. I like that part there because they'll probably have some cameras set up, for all those shots.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? But it's a good event, and as you pointed out, if you don't want to spend an exorbitant amount of money to go to the Indy, check it out on Friday.
Yeah, the Friday is very, very inexpensive, so I might check that out. Also, have you seen the F1 movie trailer with Brad Pitt?
Not yet.
Ooh. It looks cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be watching it for sure. Brad Pitt's in it, F1. Sounds like a good formula.
Gunther Steiner makes a cameo appearance, it looks like. It looks like he's going to have a role in the movie.
Well, they got to have some.
Yeah.
And those guys, have already seen them drive to survive. They're not afraid of cameras.
No.
No, so yeah.
And they're doing it like basically like the Brad Pitt's team is like the 11th F1 team. So like you'll see Red Bull, you'll see Ferrari, you'll see the drivers in there too. So Max is in the movie, Hamilton's in the movie.
I hope Max is a villain.
I think just like they'll probably make like Red Bull and Ferrari and Mercedes probably just like the villains. I don't think like them, like the characters themselves particularly will be the villains, more so like the scenario.
Teams.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting. I'll be checking it out.
I want to see Christian Horner like say something a little snippy or something. That'd be funny.
Oh, I expect it. Nothing less.
But yeah, it's coming out next year. It's going to be dropping in IMAX. So that's a movie I will be seeing in IMAX for sure. Yeah.
Ooh, that even makes it more fun. I wonder how much footage they take from real track stuff.
Oh, they're capturing a lot. So like this past weekend in Silverstone, Brad Pitt was kind of doing the rounds like he was basically like doing the post-race interviews as if he was there.
I didn't connect the dot.
Yeah, so they're filming the movie.
I didn't connect the dot. Okay. Now that I know that, okay. That was a reason. Okay. And I like Brad Pitt a lot.
I like Brad Pitt a lot too.
12 Monkeys and Fight Club.
I haven't seen 12 Monkeys yet. It's Terry Gilliam, right?
I think so. He should have won Academy Award for that role. Mm-hmm. Like he should have won Academy, but he was Brad Pitt, pretty boy at the time. Pretty boys
that's true.
Don't win Oscars. You know what I mean?
That's why Johnny Depp's never won one.
Yeah.
We will take this into Formula One, where last week we had another one of the great races of the season at Silverstone. Lewis Hamilton winning his first race in Saudi Arabia, the second last race of 2021, which gives him the most wins at one track. And I got to say, I was very happy for Lewis Hamilton. It was a very emotional moment for him and his engineer, Bonningham. Just cool to see.
Okay, so listen, I'm going to go like this, first of all, because I can't jump on bandwagons. Since I've got involved in this and Drive to Survive and all this, have I ever jumped down and said I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to look at it this way. This is in Saudi Arabia in 2021.
The second last race of that season.
Okay, so, and this guy's from Britain, and he's leaving Mercedes, which I'm saying, is this going to be his last win for Mercedes?
Yeah, that could be a big mistake.
Okay, so here we go. So when you see the emotionality of that situation, it was the thrill of victory because he had all those agonies of defeat. Mm-hmm. So to do it in front of your home crowd, Dad was there. I thought that the human moment that got me in this highest level of competition was the fact that he said, I don't do crying, as he stayed in his car so no one would see him bawling his eyes out. Mm-hmm. I think that shows a man, a part of a man. Like, what they go through to get there? And he's been on that pedestal. And even Max went over and said, hey, congratulations. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you another thing. I love that Silverstone track.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, I like the track. I paid more attention to this year. You got more spaces to do shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But my take from it is this. Max Verstappen is still the best driver in F1 when you consider the weather conditions. You know?
Well, I mean, if that race had gone on maybe just even one more lap, Max would have been right up Lewis's ass.
No doubt about it. But the crazy thing was he realized he didn't have traction early in the race. So when he dropped back a bit, I went, oh, shit, this isn't Max, until I heard after the race. And, of course, we know the key component to winning this race was something we've talked about before, and now I understand much better, is your tire situation.
Yes.
That was huge. Like, just think about
the soft tire was not the compound, and that's really what took McLaren out of the race at the end, basically, right?
And they're the two fastest cars at one point in the race. So,
and then they took Piastri out of it first because they didn't double stack, and then Lando they took out of it because they didn't put him on mediums at the end, which felt reactionary to Hamilton's pit stop because they're like, oh, they put him on softs, we got to go on softs too. Now we're not realizing that Max is on hards behind you.
Yes.
And then once those softs went out, like it was Max time.
Exactly. And the way he maneuvered when it dried up, okay? Because that's when the move was made. Like all three teams had to make a decision, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and Max said, let's go this way. Now, I heard Lando had something to say that he could carry the tires. I don't know who's in, the relationship of command. And I know that they look at the drivers and say they're on the track. They feel the conditions, so you got to dance with them. But even Lando said after the race, he sounded like he took a lot of it on his shoulders. You know what I mean? Which makes it all interesting because just think McLaren ended up fourth and fifth?
Third and fourth. But just think if they could have moved up. Like, what do we got now? McLaren is still like what? He's still 85 points ahead in that race over Lando, whatever. 84 points.
84 points. And what do we have now? We only have between first and fourth, there's only a 150-point difference.
Yeah, 152 points between Red Bull and Mercedes for fourth.
That's insane. Yeah. What about this time last year?
Oh,
we were just skating it over because Max was just letting the reason I'm bringing it up, because that season will go down in history. That's like people that aren't following F1 enough, now that I've become a bit of a junkie, when you're talking about like Gretzky's 200-point season and all those crazy-ass shit, Judge's 66, Max just had one of those seasons.
19 out of 22 wins.
Wow. I don't think we'll see that again. Maybe, I don't know. I'm doubting it. But the fact is that the way he maneuvered through, and I'm still loving Zach Brown, I'm still loving McLaren, but they made some strategic freaking mistakes that cost him in constructors and drivers.
Yeah.
Max thought he might come in fifth. What if Lando had to come in first, Max had to come in fifth?
I mean, yeah, it's very interesting. And I mean, Ferrari, Leclerc making a big mistake as well to go on to the Inters too early.
Yes, exactly.
He's one of those guys, like, I think his problem is that, like, when he is running behind, he takes too many stupid gambles.
I'm not going to say no.
He can only race from first.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? And it's really, really weird because they were talking about it before, and if you've seen Zach Brown before the race, he had a little bit more chest pumped up than usual.
Zach Brown?
Zach Brown, yeah. But at the end of the race, someone put a little hole in there because the air seemed to come out of that chest a little bit then before he started. You know what I mean? But fantastic race otherwise.
Yeah.
Like the competition level on the feeling like it's a chess game. We all know the F1, but this is one of those races where I learned the communication between driver and team is insane. Like that little, how you maneuver that's a key to any race. And not only that, I wonder how much they're going to rag on the pit crew of McLaren because they were a second behind.
Well, that was Lando's fault because he stopped too late. So that's to like shift over like another couple feet.
So yeah, Lando had a lot to do with the fact that he didn't.
That was Lando's fault.
A lot to do with the winning of that race. Now, you brought up something when we were doing the production meeting, and I'm still trying to figure out, I don't know, maybe he'll switch teams, but Fernando and Alonso and his crew seemed to, they made some points.
Yeah, I mean, but once again, another race where he's behind his teammate Lance Stroll, which 2 years ago, would you have said that he's going to be behind Lance for multiple races? Absolutely not.
Okay.
I think it shows that maybe his performance has peaked. He could be further along on the back nine than we thought.
I'm just saying I have a different opinion on that, and we've already discussed it with our Canadian boys, so I don't want to say anything about nepotism or anything like that. But sometimes, you know what I mean, at this point in time, if one car finishes, because they finished back-to-back.
7-8, yeah.
And this is the third time that they finished back-to-back or something, isn't it? Or 7th and 9th or whatever.
Yeah.
and it always seems Carlos is the guy behind. Like you
Fernando.
said, Fernando, which is odd in the history of this team with these racers. I don't know. It'll play out for the year because there's going to be some empty seats next year.
Yeah, but they're filling up quickly. I mean, Carlos Sainz is still the big one that seems to be what everyone's waiting for, the big domino everyone's waiting for to fall.
Of course. You think he'll go to Mercedes?
It sounds like Antonelli is going to have that seat because he won his first F2 race.
Exactly.
And he's the phenom apparently. So, and I mean, worst comes to worst, he's going to go to Williams, and I guess that seat's going to be open. But I honestly have no idea. I still think that they're keeping that seat warm for Antonelli.
I think so too. I even know who that guy is. I happened to look at some F1 reports during the week to figure out who he is. He's a star in the making, they say, right? So we'll
like another Max kind of guy.
Yeah.
Carlos Sainz picked up the slack for Ferrari with a 5th place finish. Although Ferrari, their hold on second place is slipping by the race every week.
I'm saying that
only 7 points ahead of McLaren now.
I'm saying it's precarious, especially with their performance. People are looking at Leclerc a little bit differently. You think it's all him, or is it the car? Is it the team? They just seem to have some failures. Like, look what happened to Russell. That just happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm saying...
But that was a judgment call that screwed him over this past race. Leclerc, I'm saying.
Okay, that's what they say.
Yeah.
Well, whatever the case may be. I don't know. I'm just saying that a guy that we've kind of kicked around a little bit, but who's rising his head with, 3rd, 6th place finishes, Mr. Hulkenberg.
He's second in a row as well.
Yes. And
Haas all of a sudden looking like more solid than ever.
Yeah.
Got to give credit to their team principal. I mean, Gunther, got to give him credit for getting them there, but it was time to move on.
Yep. Okay, but in any event, since it's happened, they've jumped up a bit. So whatever the case may be, because we've kind of dragged that guy's dick in the dirt a few times.
Haas?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, deservedly so. But, now, hey, they could be fighting for even 6th place.
There you go.
Also, shout out to Williams in 9th and an 11th place finish. Logan Sargent, 11th place. I mean, for another guy that we drag his dick through the dirt, that's a pretty good performance.
Yep.
Finishing ahead of Kevin Magnussen, who I think is probably on the way out. Rumor is that Ocon's going to take the 2nd seat at Haas with Ollie Behrman. That's not been confirmed yet. I kind of hope that's not true because I'm not an Ocon guy at all, as you probably know.
Yeah.
And Sergio Perez is in trouble as well.
Oh, I like him, but you're right. I do a little research about that point difference.
he's in a bad spot there.
He's there. But you know what? A couple good top 5 performances and that could end that story.
It could, but I mean... Summer break's coming up. It's 2 more races before summer break. When's this coming, Sergio? When are the good performances coming?
Dun, 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 dun.
He's 5 spots behind in the championship and was this 137 points.
And we know what the magic number is.
Yeah, it's 100 points and 5 spots back.
Yep.
So he's playing hopscotch with that line right about now. I really hope he can turn that around.
Too.
I do like Sergio.
I do too. And I just don't understand why one car does one thing and one car does the other, and the first person they point at is the driver. It's a rough life.
The first thing I point to as well.
Okay, that's what they're saying. And the next race is where? In Hungary, I believe, correct?
Yes, that will be next weekend, Hungaroring. Basically like a big go-kart track, so that should be a lot of fun.
Because that track's still been there since back in the day, right?
Oh, yeah, it's one of the classic F1 tracks.
Of all time, right? Yeah. So we'll look forward to seeing that. People, take a closer look.
And then Belgium the week after, which is my personal favorite.
Okay, so we're going to have some fun.
Then summer break. Then you won't see them again until August 25th in the country of Max, Zandvoort in the Netherlands.
Yes.
We will move this along to Wimbledon, where it is championship weekend. Paulini versus Krejcikova are in the ladies' final. Then in the men's final, or gentlemen's final, I should say, it's Carlos Alcaraz versus Novak Djokovic.
2 very deserving finalists for sure. We're going to have a little rundown what's going on, but once again, I have too much time on my hands, so I've probably watched more Wimbledon than I've watched in many, many years. And there's some interesting facts come up. You know, one of the things that I heard that I had to think about it. So think about this. 55,000 tennis balls are used during the tournament.
I believe that.
55,000.
Fresh out of the can. Must be so nice.
That's a lot of motherfucking tennis balls, bro. I said 55.
What they do after they're done, do they recycle them or?
I think they go to practice, and all those kids, practice. It's got to go somewhere. But 55,000. Tennis.
That's a lot of yellow or green balls. I don't know. Like, I
want to work for
Are
the
they yellow
tennis
or green? I don't know. I always hear that debate.
Depends on you're dyslexic or not, so I'll probably call them green. I don't know. In any event, wouldn't you want to work for a tennis ball company?
Absolutely.
There you go. Another factor that's come in here that before we get to how we got to the finals is that one of the interesting things, and we talked about this off camera, is the weather conditions and how it's played into the effect of the court and the 19 withdrawals.
Yes.
From the Wimbledon this year. Now, they're not saying it's the most they had when there, but it had to do with a lot of top players, like apparently Sabalenka, who bowed out before it started because she had the problem. But they said part of the reason was when she went on that surface, she said, no, I'm only going to get worse. Swiatek got hurt late in her match, which we didn't find out until afterwards.
Djokovic got a walk in the quarterfinals because de Minaur.
Yeah, he couldn't even go. And they were saying something about it. Zverev, he had that bad little twist at the fourth set or whatever it was, that key point in the match. And
we were talking about him as one of the sneaky contenders.
Yes.
And unfortunately, just another major he couldn't win.
But have you seen the last set? He was not himself. No, you know what I mean? You could say he was seriously laboring, which is part of the game. I hate to say it, but a part of the game is part of the conditions. And you have to say, we were talking about outdoor, indoor, rain, high heat, humidity, barometric pressure. I'm no weatherman. But if shit happens at the Dome, and this is a lot smaller, that's my take on the matter.
Oh, yeah.
It may have affected the draw, or it may have not have. There's a couple of old school girls that they were talking about that I used to like, but I'm starting to think that Osaka maybe, I don't know. Like, she's just 5 years ago, she was like telling Serena, here I come.
Yeah, I know.
And now she didn't look that good. Wozniak, she beat our Canadian. Okay, and the Canadians fell down large. The only one that went anywhere, and I didn't expect him, was Shapovalov, and he only made it to the third round.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Felix bowed out early.
Felix was out in the first round.
Yeah, and Wozniak beat Fernandez. And Wozniak's an old, good player. She's sneaky good. She did win a couple of rounds, so I think that she could be back. However, if we watch the trail of the women's, it was amazing. First of all, we should shout out to the Italians.
Yeah, Paolini, her second straight major final. She was in the finals for the French, now in the finals for the Wimbledon as they're going on right now. I will not spoil the score for you, sir, because I know you will catch that later today.
Okay, and anyways, I'm cheering for her, not because she beat Coco Gauff. And then she beat Navarro, who beat Coco Gauff, and I thought this Navarro girl was going to be something else, the American. She played really, really well, but they look like they run out of gas. Is there about the time that you play on the court? Because there's another question is, with the weather and the delays, you play more in shorter period of time, which I alluded to in my shout-out to John McEnroe. He said back in the day that a couple times when the schedule gets congested, you end up playing more in a shorter period of time, which probably led to a little bit of an advantage for Djokovic. But in any event, as the finals are going on, and once Coco got taken out by Paolini, which was a great match, or by Navarro, which was a great match, and then when she was playing Paolini, I thought this was going to be the women's match of the thing, and Navarro clearly ran out of gas. There's something was going on.
Oh, there. She beat her handily, 6-2, 6-1.
Ran out of gas. I watched them. I was expecting something bigger, which in the other one, when I was having Rabinka, and what's her name? I thought Rabinka was going to win it all because the run that she was beating people, apparently she had some kind of little weird thing happen to her ankle in the first set because of the surface. And I'm not, you know what?
But she still managed to push to third set.
Oh, yeah. She played her ass off. And you know what? She's a deserving winner, too. She just won a couple years ago. So anyways, I'm going to be very selfless. I hope nobody thinks that this sounds out of place, but I'm hoping for Paolini to win it all because she's cute and she is a bulldog.
And she's Italian.
And she's Italian. I put that on top of her. She could look like one of my offspring. You see the color of her? You know what I mean? And you see her build, and she's not big.
She's like 5'4".
Yeah, but she's got, like, do you see the legs and shoulders? She's a freaking bowling ball. Like, I see the power coming on her serve alone, and she's not that tall.
No.
And her ground strokes are rockets. Great player. We should have an interesting final.
Yes, and also shout out to Canadian Gabriela Dabrowski, who will be playing in the ladies doubles finals. So a big shout out to her.
At least the Canadians are doing well. I'm going to say something that I think is really, really, we should have brought it up more, and we could be talking about him. But people realize that this is Alcaraz's sixth. He has 6 semifinals in his 4th final. And the guy turned 20.
Major, like Grand Slam
Grand
final,
Slam, yeah. And he just turned 22, last week?
Yeah.
Or he's turned...
Incredible.
Doing there. Now, I don't know if we said that he would be around at the end, but I think we got too tied up with your boy Sinner from Italia, too. He was sick on the court.
I know.
So the conditions, he was dead. He fought to the end. But, I don't know what went on there, but people started talking immediately about the pressure in and out, the humidity, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, which is a drag because I thought this was going to be a time for him to rise up to be near the end. But in my opinion now, I've watched so much Wimbledon. Carlos Alcaraz is the best tennis player in the world, and God bless Djokovic. But, if Djokovic wins today, tomorrow, that's going to be a battle because this Alcaraz, he's a little cocky at times.
Oh, yeah. I would say him and Sinner are the future of men's tennis.
And I was hoping it would be more a Sinner and Alcaraz final because I think when they get there one day, that's going to be a battle. And don't forget that.
Maybe U.S. Open, we'll see.
Definitely. But I'm expecting an epic men's final. I'm expecting the crowd to be a key part of what's going on.
Is Djokovic going to get booed?
Oh, come on. Of course he is. And you know what? Alcaraz...
What do you think about that whole thing, about the match against Rune?
Stop
I don't think they were really booing him.
I think they were.
Do you think they were?
Oh, 100%. Djokovic is not a well-liked guy.
Oh, I know.
Did you watch him PTI? You hear what Wilbon said about him? He's the greatest of all time. I can't stand the guy.
That's pretty much how I feel about him, too. It's like, I love his game, but off the court, I don't really care for much.
And look at some of his antics.
Yeah.
Okay, and he plays it up, and he plays the crowd. So, meanwhile, Alcaraz, who had the unmitigated audacity to say Sunday's going to be a good day for Spain, did he not know where he was standing? Wait a second, did you hear the crowd? And then he tried to jump over, which is good because it's sportsmanship. I'd be saying the same thing if I was him. I don't give a shit if I'm in England. I'm from Spain, buddy. Come on. I thought it was funny sportsmanship, but which is going to be first? Wimbledon's going to be over before the start of the World Cup final, right?
Yeah, because it's a 9 a.m. start. So even if it goes like 5 hours, it'll end still an hour before Euro.
Yeah, that's just going to be, because they deliberately pushed it up early, right? I heard an hour early or something.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised.
Something like that. But I just think that's one of those great perfect storms in the world of sports where you all come together in Spain. Hey, look at the cat's ass right now. And if you get to say that if you're the guy on the opposing teams, like one of their, I guess you would call it mosques or like citadels. That's Wimbledon, man. Come on. That's what's more British.
The All England Club.
What's more British than Wimbledon?
I can't think of much.
Okay. Except maybe royalty, whatever the case may be.
I don't know, Mr. Bean.
Oh, yeah, of course, Mr. Bean. It used to be Benny Hill when I was young, but but nobody wants to talk about Benny Hill anymore because he can't defend himself from the grave, but that's another story. In any event, I'm expecting, and I don't know what's going on. Don't tell me. I think the women's going to be good. I really think that tomorrow could be an epic match. I'm going to predict something. If Alcaraz is kicking Djokovic's ass, Djokovic will grab his knee. Just saying.
So
I hope not.
You're calling Alcaraz to win?
Oh, yeah. Like, he went out to get, we should give Medvedev a little credit because he beat some people on the way, and that's a guy I don't like.
Yes, he took out Sinner.
Yes, but it was there. But he played as good as he could yesterday against Alcaraz. I don't even know what Alcaraz was doing in the first set. Smoking weed. I don't know what was going on. Johnny Mack was going, hey, our boy better tie his shoes up. And then once he...
Well, he lost that first set in a tiebreaker. Come on.
But he was down 5-2.
Fair enough.
Came back. But and then he tried to do a few fancy things in the tiebreaker that he shouldn't have done, and he could have won there.
But then he pulled up his socks, 1-6-3, 6-4, 6-4. So
done. That's what I said. And Medvedev, it was a good match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw the highlights.
And Medvedev was only broken. He was broken more times in this match than he had been in the entirety of the tournament, which just tells you about the caliber of Alcaraz's returns, because Medvedev is considered one of the best servers on the in the tour.
Sure.
Anyways, I tune in tomorrow because it's historical in two ways: the age of Alcaraz and the generation moving on, and does Djokovic have it in him to have one more major, which he does,
especially after surgery.
So
and when did he go for surgery? Like, was it mid-May?
A week after.
I think it was at the beginning of June or something. It worked out. Or maybe not.
A week after he defaulted at the French Open, whenever that is. But the bottom line, I think it's going to be an epic match. And if Djokovic wins now, the GOAT conversation is going to be leaning his way huge. Because he had to wade his way through the golden era.
Between this and we're going to have to see how the Olympics goes too, because I think that's going to factor into the GOAT conversation as well. If he can finally get that Olympic gold medal,
that will put him on there. I still say in their prime, on their best day, if Federer was playing Djokovic, I'd take Federer. On their best day,
maybe
the top game, I would say so.
But I mean, Djokovic just had it's the kind of like the Manning versus Brady debate for me, where Manning in his prime was arguably better, but Brady just had the window was so much larger.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. A win tomorrow puts him firmly in the GOAT position, so to speak. So stay tuned, everybody. It's going to be a blast.
Absolutely, we will have our eyes on that tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We'll move this on to the WNBA and women's basketball, where we had a few announcements for the Olympic rosters.
Oh, did we?
Yes, we did. I guess you want to go through Team Canada first?
Okay.
So, I won't name everybody, but some notable players. Kia Nurse being named to the team. Yeah. Aaliyah Edwards.
Yes.
I guess those two headline it, but obviously a big shout-out. Hopefully Canada can medal this time. I know we're not exactly the favorites for women's basketball, but...
Do you think we got a possibility of medaling?
Why not?
I'm hoping we do, but I'm hoping that we even get to the.
I know the Americans. Obviously, I know the Aussies are really good for women's basketball.
They are too, and Spain is good.
Yeah,
so it could be interesting. Shout out to our women's girls though.
Yeah, and then of course the United States team got announced, and Brittany Griner ended up getting named to the team.
Okay, so now, I got it. I don't know what
happened.
Alongside,
I'll just read all the names here since they're all notable. Alyssa Thomas, Jackie Young, Diana Taurasi, Nafisa Collier, Brianna Stewart, Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, Kalia Copper, Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, and Jewel Lloyd.
Okay, so now is Taurasi on there?
Yeah, she is.
Okay, so
she's the elder statesman, so to speak.
So a couple things have happened in the last 48 hours, okay?
Okay.
One of them is that Caitlyn Clark has been announced as a replacement possibility. Okay, and first of all, before we get there, let's get back to the whole WNBA thing and how it's working. I've never seen a league where the 7th and 8th position teams are the talk of the league for starters. That blows my mind to just let you know what's going on. Like, we've got, what is it? The Liberty, Yukon, Mini, and Vegas, now that they've got everybody back. To see Vegas raise up the thing, they're good. Number 2 is...
they won their last 3, 9-1 their last 10.
Oh, they're just roaring. Everybody's back. So we should be talking about that. We should also be talking about where there's a little bit of a tiny blip of a roar because Asia Wilson was won over the best basketball thing over Caitlyn Clark at the ESPYs the other night. Stop it. Okay, I love you, Caitlyn, but... Okay, so in any event,
Asia Wilson is the best women's basketball player in the world.
Thank you. Come on, that's not even a question. If you don't know, then you're stupid. But anyways, what I'm talking about is you have the Taurasi injury. So she has missed the last couple of games, and she's hobbling around noticeably. Okay, so as we were saying, we've seen a little debate on one of our favorite shows, PTI. We'd love to bring those guys up, but the question is now, and we've talked about it, Caitlyn Clark is still leading the league in turnovers. She's had just as many double-doubles, but not in a row as Angel Reese.
No.
So Angel Reese should be considered a replacement player too. Also, by the way, who is in the running for Rookie of the Year when you look at it statistically? Now,
it's between those two ladies.
And if you look at the numbers, it's a toss-up right now. I think what Neville is going to be is...
Reese leading the league in rebounds and Caitlyn Clark sneaking up on the assist lead.
Yes, she is, and she's scoring 19 a night, but her turnovers are atrocious. But she almost broke the record last night for most assists in a game, eh?
Yeah.
She tied the record. So, they're both there. I think that the Angel Reese thing should be considered too. But the question is this, and we've talked about it on the last show, but let's take it where it's going right now. Taurasi looks like a 50-50 to make the team due to the injury. So they're going to have to replace her, correct? Yes. So do we replace her based on what? Now, I believe the Americans are going to win anyway.
They should. If they don't, it's a colossal disaster.
Oh, 100%. So when we're talking about profile and raising the eyes on the game of women's basketball, and we know who does that better than anybody else. Do we sacrifice the old, do we take the best team? Or do we add a little mustard to your hot dog? So perhaps maybe more USA jerseys are sold.
Just pick the best player.
What?
Just pick the best player.
At the house that happens, I'm going to say, you got to do what you got to do. How's that sound? This is all marketing.
Sounds like classic Cruz fence sitting.
Something I don't necessarily like to do. Okay, let's cut to the chase here. But it is an interesting conundrum considering the financial bearing on everything and the fact that eyeballs on the screen and everything's a television show. Yep. According to our guy, Tony Kornheiser, everything's a television show. And when you have a television show, what are you looking for?
Well, I will say this.
Ratings.
The only reason why it should be Caitlyn Clark over Angel Reese is just positionally. Clark's a guard, Angel Reese is a forward. You'd be replacing Taurasi, who's a guard.
Good point. Good point. That's what I'm saying there, and that might be leading it there. However, if you look at the stats around the WNBA.
Oh, I know, it's close.
No. There's 3 or 4 other guards.
That could take her place.
That are in the league that are actually looking better statistically. I think the girl on Minnesota, one of the girls on Connecticut, and look at the place they're in. Oh, by the way, they're running away with the league. Well, everybody's talking about who's coming in 7th or 8th. Or 8th or 9th. You know what I mean?
7 or 8th, yeah.
So there's a weird juxtaposition going on there when there's statistically, and if your eyeballs are on the court, there's a couple other girls that are probably a little bit better. But in this day and age, profile.
You know what, though? Like, if I'm worried that Caitlyn Clark, if she does get announced to the team, that, like, it's just going to be a shitstorm. Like, just women getting mad at her and, like, all the cattiness is going to come out.
Well, I was very kind of sitting on my couch last night. Did you hear the Serena Williams comment on the ESPYs?
No, I heard about it, though.
Oh, another one of those kind of Stephen A. Smith, black people can say something that white people can't. I was very surprised because she's been very, very supportive. Mm-hmm. But when she said, and a lot of white people like you,
yeah, that's offside.
I thought it was a little offside. After Serena told her everything that she went through when she was young and supporting her and say, be strong, play your game, that's all you got to do, and the cream rises to the top. And then to get on national TV as the host of the EPSIs.
The Black Lives Matter people got to her. Like, that interview was too nice. You got to throw this in.
Oh, it was just, I was shocked. I was like, oh, Serena, really? So you went with the boys, eh? You went with their, boys. Yeah. Well, that's typical on the street talk is, and like I said, once in our lifetime, I hope that this goes away because you heard about the kid from Duke that played against the Olympic guys on the warm up in Vegas, right? Mm-hmm. Kid was amazing. Okay, but Bobby.
Yeah, the phenom there.
Yeah. Okay, so. They're already saying, oh, gee, I wonder how he's going to be treated if they go on this side of the fence, how it's going to be on that side of the fence. Where we at the house that happens, they're saying, if we had a big eraser, we'd erase that shit completely from the narrative and get to the highest level of competition, which is what we should be talking about.
Yes.
But anyways, that's going to play out probably in the next couple of weeks. We'll get to talk about it. But once again, I think that what we should be really seriously looking at, and I've seen a couple of games, when you see these 4 top teams in the WNBA right now playing great basketball.
Top 5, you could argue.
Top 5 too. Yeah, you could really have top 5. But when any of those 2 teams get together, you got like the quality game has gone up. Mm-hmm. It's competitive. It's rugged.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago and Indiana is a nice little story, but they're probably going to get smoked in the first round of the playoffs.
No doubt about it. They'll be gone quicker than you swat a fly. But but the bottom line is it's just America and all the other extracurricular bullshit that we have to be fed because it's media controlled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's just the way it is, and we'll keep this moving to check up on 2 of our favorite teams that play at BMO Field, TFC and the Toronto Argos, where they share a president until this week where Bill Manning, president of TFC and the Argos, was fired.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
I don't see anything wrong with that either. Ever since he's taken over, TFC's been kind of a shit show. And then of course, there's the Chad Kelly drama that happened under his watch, too. So.
Oh, point well taken. I didn't even add that to the equation yet. I wonder how this is any of that had this effect on the Argos, because we'll talk about the Argos in a minute.
I would be betting it did. I imagine the locker room, like, I don't know if I want to say that they're divided, but you can imagine there'd be a little bit like, hey, what's going on here?
Oh, no doubt about it.
A little bit distrust after that.
Okay, so my thing is this. Good riddance, and I hope the door doesn't hit you in the ass as you're going out, man, because what you have done to the TFC fan base alone is atrocious. And, we hate to announce the score of the last game, but...
Yeah, they lost 4-0 at Columbus.
And their playoff position is precarious at best.
Yeah, just hanging on to that 9th and final play-in seed with Atlanta, Montreal, New England, Chicago, Philly, and DC right up, like, nipping on their heels. Like, there's not a lot of divide between 9th and last in the Eastern Conference.
Consider their payroll. Is this going to be a disaster if they make the playoffs?
It's a disaster either way.
By TFC.
We play Philly tonight in Toronto, which is going to be a huge match, obviously. They need the 3 points.
Oh, yeah. Big time. But let's just flip the coin because obviously something different went on to the other team that he was president of. And I want to shout out huge to the Toronto Argonauts and the whole crew that went into Montreal and did some damage. And I apologize. I'm 2 weeks. I've said that the Argos would lose by 10. The first time they did. I don't want to say...
No, they didn't.
What did they lose by? 7. Okay. In any event, sorry about that, Argos. I don't want to come on the air and say, I hope the Argos lose by 10. Not hope, but I mean, if I was a betting man, I'd say they'd be 10. I don't want to do that. I want to do everything about the Argos, including switch them back to the original double blue, but that's another story. They played amazing last night.
Yeah, well, especially coming up, on Thursday, but especially that coming off a tough 30-23 loss in Saskatchewan. But then bouncing back big, 37-18 victory in Montreal.
Now, a couple people said this, and I'm going to say, eat my shorts, okay? The starting quarterback, what's his name?
Cameron Dukes.
No, on the Alouettes.
It was Evans.
Yeah.
Caleb Evans.
Okay, but the starter pulled his hamstring.
Oh, Fajardo?
Yeah, Fajardo pulled his hamstring, okay? And then I said to myself when the announcers are looking at it, I go, last time I checked, isn't Cameron Dukes, bless you, Dukes the second string quarterback on the Toronto Argonauts? So I say, go to hell. I was very surprised at the Toronto pass rush. Especially earlier. Like, they have trouble defending the ball, so if they don't get to the quarterback, it's all over. They're having trouble against the run, which is really a weird kind of thing with the Argos because they're very
Their
good
secondary is pretty shaky, too.
At best, okay? But they can run the ball. Like,
yes,
they're
they
a very
can.
good run. So it's usually you try to add the two. They haven't quite got that mix down, but they can run the ball. They protect Dukes, and I noticed that he tucked the ball in a little bit tighter last night. But really changed the win, though, is when, what's his name? The lineman? What's his name? Oh, God, I had it here. Kareem Carey, is that his name? No, he's the running back. That guy's amazing, too. Anyway, the guy got the interception on the very first time. He's been on the team a few years. And Evans came in and did that backwards play, and he ran it in from about 15 yards. That's when the tide began to turn.
McManus?
Yeah, McManus. He played well all night, actually. You know what I mean? He harassed the quarterbacks all night long. That wide receiver, I forget the weird name, Philip Hott or whatever. There's a guy in Montreal. He should be playing in the NFL. I think it's his size-wise that didn't get him.
Well, we talked about this before. A lot of it's just opportunity.
Agreed. But the number one thing for watching the Toronto Argonauts right now, who's been around the league, won a Grey Cup with Winnipeg. They decided they couldn't afford him, and we took him, and that's this Jerry and Grant guy. Oh, my God. 2 games in a row, 100 and some yard touchdown returns. Every time he catches a ball and gets downfield, he's electric.
End to end.
End to end every time. I often wonder, because I was talking to my neighbor about this huge Argo crowd, that some of these guys that come from the States that come up and are great punt returners, is it maybe because the field is a little bit wider? So their lots are bigger because, the field's a little bit shorter? Because he breaks some seams that there wouldn't be in the NFL. Like, he broke one of the seams that he broke against, against Saskatchewan, I believe, that one. If you look at the way he ran, that would never happen in the NFL because the field was not that wide.
No.
So you got that angle, you know what I mean? But that's okay. He's playing by the rules of the game. I just think anybody that hasn't been watching CFL football, this guy's electric.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. Dreads flying. I can hear the Marley playing as he's juking guys down the field. Exodus. Oh, it's badass. I love the guy. Screaming for the Argos. Big win, though, eh?
Big win, and maybe we're not missing Chad Kelly as much as we thought we would be a week ago.
Okay, so we're not on the Chad Kelly fence about him at all, okay? We're not on the fence.
Although he's going to be close to returning.
I know that. And all the Argos have said, and the word around the campfire is, as long as we tread water, we have hope in Chad. What a hope to have, though, eh? Come on. It's a drag, but that's sports. What you going to do? Anyways, we're not going to stay too long on the Argos. Big shout-out. But what you'll be doing to watch the CFL is, and we are talking about the Argos, we should talk about their competition. And today is the biggest game of the year in the CFL, Saskatchewan against BC. Now we're going to see if Saskatchewan is for real, because they have played some junk teams, and BC has played a couple better. But what is it? BC is 4-1, Saskatchewan 5-0?
4-0.
4-0. So it could be a big game, especially after that barn burner last night with Winnipeg and Calgary.
Yep.
Which was another good game. So if you want, I'm gonna tune into the game.
And Toronto will be playing next week against Hamilton in Hamilton, who is 0-5. So hopefully another win for our double blue.
And you know what scares me though? Every time Toronto gets in those situations against Hamilton, just because of that rivalry, don't look at the point spread. That's like college football to me, you know what I mean? You just don't know when the Husky Wee-Wees play the Argos. You know what I mean? I'm going to start a campaign, though, before we go, and I'm going to start writing to them saying, we are traditionalists in this city, and if you want to be a traditionalist team, let's get back to the double blue on the Argos. I'm just having issues with these. Hey, look, are they the Blue Jays? You know, what's going on here? Some other team? I don't know. I'm definitely old. But I mean, I guess my gnarly old saltwater crocodile niceness is starting to show.
Maybe. They're trying to get some of the young people in there, because we all know the Argos desperately need a youth kind of movement there with the fans.
Especially, we know it is such a thing. We just had a huge hype on the Argos, and I'm blowing TFC off the table like, get out of here. Look at the attendance difference.
I know.
It's just wow.
Insane.
Anyways, we'll move on.
Yeah, we'll move this on to the NBA, where they just announced a $76 billion media deal with ESPN, NBC, and Amazon to be paid $2.7 billion annually starting next season, 25-26. Although TNT still has the right to match, although I doubt they will. A
5-day window.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is fast approaching.
Oh, yeah. Has the deal been finalized, finally? I heard it's not going to be finalized till Monday, or was it finalized on Friday?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Because the reports are all out there.
Yeah.
Okay, all the insiders have reported everything about the contract. So I'm going to just take 2 minutes here to say, listen, fans, we do love the highest level of competition, but don't fool us, okay? So we've been on this show, and remember we said with all the people sitting out, game management, bad games on TV and all this stuff, we said, oh, wait till the CBA comes up. And there's going to be a little bit of a battle. How quickly was the CBA settled?
Oh, instantly.
Okay, and remember at the time, we were surprised.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a quick negotiation. Now, here we are less than a year later, getting $76 billion. You can't tell me Adam Silver, who's slicker than people realize, didn't put all these people in the same room at the same time and said, shut the front door, money coming? Because it's just weird to me now when you think about the timeline. Like, everyone thinks about the on-field product, and I agree, because that's the most important thing. But this is shady, sketchy business to me, man. You guys all sold out. Oh, they gave us a 65-game rule. Got to play 65 games to get your bonuses and shit. But don't you think there's something weird that they said there was going to be a contentious CBA bargaining? That was over in 90 seconds, and $76 million goes on the table a week later. Come on, 6 months later?
Well, the NBA Players Association is more powerful than we thought.
Maybe
approaching baseball now.
I don't know if they're that powerful. I think.
Well, they got what they wanted pretty quickly, didn't they?
Well, here's the funny thing is they got in the CBA though the cap went tighter. That's what I'm weird, or the taxes went weird. So if they knew the money was coming, how did the cap get tighter? Just seemed weird. And they're only allowed to have a 10% increase every year, which they're going to get in the next 10 years because the money coming in every year from freaking that pretty well guarantees it with the attendance. Pretty well guarantees 10% every year.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it just seems...
So maybe we're not that far off from guys getting the $80 million salary.
But wait. This is all done because streaming is trying to grab the last reality TV shows that mean anything, which are sports. So everybody wants a piece of that.
Well, they are grabbing that.
Obviously, okay? That's why who's in there? Some of these games, NBC's involved now. So Peacock gets some games. Yeah. Amazon gets some games. Prime
Thank God this isn't affecting us in Canada just yet.
Your time is gonna come. Okay, but my point is this. I don't think we'll get to those players unless the players give us some of the greatest basketball we're going to see in the next 10 years. Because if we've seen some of the lethargic bullshit that we've seen in this league with some of the shit-ass teams that have come along, then fans aren't going to watch. And when the ratings go down, you know what they're going to say? Like, remember that first year, the Thursday night games when they had the contract with Amazon? They got all the shit games?
Yeah.
Then the next year they said, hey, wait a second here.
Yeah, this season it was a lot better Thursday night, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly, because everybody's going to come to the table. I see these battles going on with the media contract because, okay, ABC's going to keep their little slot.
Yeah.
ESPN's going to keep their little spot. You know, everyone's going to have their little thing in there. But is it going to be good for the fans? That's what I'm talking about, and we're going to have to wait and see.
Well, I mean, it looks like it's like better for the fans right now. I mean, getting the games on NBC, I think, is a big win just because it's on network TV. That's way more accessible than having it on TNT, which is a specialty cable network.
But some of the games are going to Peacock.
Yeah.
Farm some of the games out. My thing is, I know all of that there, and I know the exposure. What I'm more concerned with is the quality of the play on the field. Now, they say there's more greater basketball teams than all time, but Seattle's getting a team. Montreal's got a bid. I heard is rounding up a bid to get in.
Wow.
So they're going to expand.
Well, Seattle and Vegas are next in line.
Oh, I think so, too.
Yeah.
They're going to get it going away. All the boys are going, we got to have a Vegas stop during the season. Look at those guys in the NHL. They're having a party.
What's taking so long is the only question there.
Well, we know why it took so long, but now that the doors are
open. But the NHL beat them to the door? Oh, the MLB beat them to the door. Oh, NFL beat them to the door. Come on.
Okay.
Like when NBA had that All-Star game in Vegas 2007, we thought it was going to happen in the next decade. Here we are almost 20 years later.
But they haven't had no expansion anyway.
That's what I'm saying is kind of weird.
Yeah, but because you know what it was? They were trying to balance the league. There were some questions about TV contracts, load management, guys jumping to teams, no loyalty, all that kind of stuff that was like percolating under the surface that fans were seeing as well as watching what was going on the court. That's what I'm saying. So my take on it is, listen, I love the NBA, but I'm going to be the first person that say, let's get 7 years into this contract and we're going to see some bitchin'.
Okay, we'll see. Mm-hmm. The Toronto Raptors have not offered a deal to Gary Trent Jr., which was a little bit of a shock, especially from our perspective, where you thought the Raptors should bring him back.
Yes and no, but okay, something has happened, and then we'll get on to the Olympic thing. Can I just say something about the Raptors right now?
Sure.
Okay. Their dick is getting dragged in the dirt. I mean, that's the name of the show, Dick Dragon. Anyways, and wouldn't work good.
I already have a name for the show. But.
Okay, that's good. You're well versed at that. By the way, our ads are amazing. If you got people are watching, our producers just off the charts. But in any event,
thank you, Mr. Producer.
In any event, when you look at how the Raptors season ended, okay, injuries, blah 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 blah.
That horrible losing streak,
the whole 9 yards. Okay, so now let's look at this from a perspective of like this. Okay. The reason they're not giving Gary Trent the deal is because of three guys. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, Scotty got his bag. Lively got his bag. Barrett's on there. Okay? Those are three.
Quickly, too.
Quickly, yeah, that's what I mean. Those three. And Barrett's already is. So those guys are under contract for a few years. Podol's got to be a bit of a big-time center. Or Pirtle got to play a big-time center and play his role, which is great. And we have Brown, who every team in the league tried to get from us. So maybe Masai is saying, let's hold on to Brown here because he could be that glue guy that we're going to need.
Sure.
We're going to have an improved Graydon Dick because
Grady Dick.
He looked better coming down the stretch. I'm sure he's eating Big Macs and working out right now and shooting, so that's good. But here's the key that people don't understand and how things move differently. First of all, we got the kid. What's his name? Alexander? Where's my...
Walter and Sheed?
Yeah, and Sheed. Exactly. Can I explain who these guys are? First, Walter is a number 9. What was he, a number 19th pick?
Yeah. So
at any given time at 19, you get a good guy. He's lanky. He can defend on the wing. He's great. Heed is a real sleeper. In this case, because he went to Baylor.
Sheed.
I seen the Jamal Sheed, I think his name is. I seen this guy play at Baylor. Okay? This guy was a Badger. Some people are comparing to Fred Van Fleet. I'm saying he was tougher than Van Fleet in that way. Maybe not as good a shooter. But, I mean, he's going to come off the bench to get Lively, which is even better. But here's the key, too. We took Devin Mitchell from Sacramento because he couldn't find his way into the lineup there. He is a defensive rat. Now, his numbers have come down shooting-wise, but 2 years ago, he was a number 9th pick overall in the NBA. So was Shea. We didn't know about him the first 2 years, didn't we? Then someone made a trade to OKC, and guess what happened? I'm not saying...
Well, he was a top 10 pick, though, to be fair.
Devin Mitchell is a top 10 pick. Okay? So I'm just saying there is some... Messiah's put some building blocks together here that I'm going to start now. The Toronto Raptors are going to be exceedingly better than anybody thinks, and I'm on their bandwagon. Let's go Raptors.
Okay, love to hear that. We'll move this along to...
The Olympics now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Olympic rosters got announced this week, so we'll begin with Team Canada, where Nikhil Alexander-Walker, RJ Barrett, Kem Birch, Dylan Brooks, Luka Encador, Melvin Ejim, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Trey Lyles, Jamal Murray, Andrew Nembhard, Kelly Olynyk, and Dwight Powell getting announced as the Canadian men's players. And then for the USA, it was Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Derek White, Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, Drew Holiday, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, and Devin Booker. Now, if I were to tell you coming into this that there'd be 3 Boston Celtics on this team and none of them were the guy that won Finals MVP, what would your reaction be?
He told Nike to go fuck himself.
What do you mean?
Him and Nike don't get along.
Shouldn't you just bring the best players, though?
Something went on here. Like there's everyone's saying about it. Now, Grant Hill, who is director of players on this team, did the best spin I have ever seen when they took Kawhi out. His spin was, Derek White plays good with great players, as we just seen.
No, we all know what the deal is here. There's going to be no load management here, Kawhi. If you're going to be on the team, you got to play.
Okay, so and they're saying that his injury susceptibility, and the Clippers kind of said, okay, Kawhi, you can stay home. It's for your career. It's better for your career. Let's just go there. So leave Kawhi out here. It's the selection of White over Jaylen Brown that's absolutely blown my mind. Okay,
it's blown everybody's mind.
Okay, he was just named the best player in a championship team on the ESPYs 2 nights ago. That's of all championship. Who played the best in their championship? Jaylen Brown won the ESPY.
Wow.
And he's not on the Olympic team?
Well, there's a little bit of bias there with ESPN, but I mean...
Okay, I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say this, that I'm up...
He won the NBA Finals MVP. I think that should be the argument.
That's the reason why he should be there. He's there. But the bottom line is I'm saying this. Politics gets into everything, bro. I think this is a political move. Because Nike's doing what with his team?
They're outfitting the team,
Thank you very much. And Jaylen Brown is not a
He's not a Nike guy.
And he said some things about Nike in the past that they haven't forgotten. Okay?
Can't you just wear the American flag and cover the logo and call it a day? Just pull the Jordan move?
I was one of the epic Jordan moves of all time, by the way. But in any event, I thought it was kind of weird, too. It gets back to our original premise when we were talking about the women's Olympic team and whether or not you take the 12 best or you do it for political reasonings. This is different, but it's still weird.
I 100% agree. My question is, why is it for the Americans that no one wears 1, 2, 3 on the team? Why does it start at 4?
Interesting. I did not know that.
Because I noticed that when I was looking at the Dream Team roster one time, I'm like, why does it start at 4? Where'd 1, 2, 3 go?
Interesting.
Are they retired for Team USA? I don't know.
Come on, stop. It can't be.
Well, I know Team Canada for hockey has some retired numbers.
Okay, but that's different. I get that. That's completely different. This is basketball, but in a different way. Nobody's played like that. Yeah, I guess Jordan would have because the roster turns over. I don't know, but I'm just saying this as well.
Yeah, Jordan's got 2 Olympic gold medals.
Yeah, so one of the things you got to realize in this, and that everybody knows, is before we're talking about Canada's getting a lot of airplay. That game that we lost in Vegas, that was a cat and mouse game. Dylan Brooks did his job.
Yep.
I like the way he cut through Ant-Man's press conference, like Dylan Brooks being Dylan Brooks. Isn't it interesting that 9 of the 12 guys in the Olympic team come from Southern Ontario?
Well, hey, it's a basketball hotbed here.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. In any event, what we have to realize going into this, and we can't ignore France, is that let's just tell the truth here. The vast talent difference between America and everybody else is just immense.
100%.
You just look at that. Look at our lineup and look at theirs. Now, we got some great guys. Murray.
We should be competing for a medal.
Oh, definitely. And I think now, I'm going to say it here now. I don't know where to sit on this because I thought eBay, who got drafted from Memphis, and they're going to explode.
Edie,
yeah. Should we have having them? Because the one noticeable thing about the game was that our size in the middle, we couldn't put it. Look at the size.
When Kem Birch gets named to the team and Dwight Powell, I like those guys, but
and then Kelly Olynyk.
I think he's a good guy to have off the bench.
Oh, I do too. But these are our big men.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to go up against Embiid, AD, Tatum, LeBron.
Get a guard in there or something and double team them.
Oh, I'm hoping that it on the perimeter. I just say that I'm hoping one day that I hope we medal, and I hope that in one game we could beat them if we have the best game ever. But I want to take away a little bit of the hype, because if things don't go the way that everyone thinks they are, I don't want it to be a disappointment. Like, we're back on the map. Remember, we didn't play in the Olympics since what, 2000?
2000, yeah.
Come on. So all of a sudden we're going to go from 2000 to being like the greatest thing in sliced bread.
But hey, we got the second most players in the NBA by country.
I agree. And we have the talent. We got Shea. We got Jamal
Murray, yeah.
And we got that guy you need, that Dylan Brooks. Every team wins with a Dylan Brooks. And this team plays defense.
I think it would be. I still think it would be a major disappointment if we don't at least make it to the semifinals. Okay. But hey, U.S. obviously are on top. France is very good. Germany's very good.
Spain's very good.
I think their program is kind of peaked, though. Like, don't have as many guys.
Argentina's may have peaked, too, right?
I don't even know if they made it.
That's good.
But yeah, Spain, I don't think they have as many guys in the NBA anymore. So I'm a little less worried about them, although I'm sure their national program is still very strong, that they can play together as a unit. But yeah, only 2 guys on the team are in the NBA.
I'm looking at it this way. I'm expecting a really good tournament from our guys, but I'm not going to freaking jump off the bandwagon if there's something a little weird goes on or something this or that, because everybody's having expectations that they're realistic expectations, but it kind of goes through the ceiling, if you know what I mean. For a team that hasn't been in the Olympics in 24 years, let's make a showing. That's what I'm saying. It's incremental growth, like we'll talk about when we get to Copa.
Make us proud.
Make us proud. Oh, he will.
Lastly, Jalen Brunson getting a discount with a deal here, something LeBron said he would do, but didn't. I guess when no one else wanted to come sign with the Lakers.
Okay, so I'm going to look at it this way again. I don't mean to be the skeptic, and I don't mean to be the guy that said he took a hometown discount, okay? By the way, what city is Brunson playing in?
New York.
Oh, really? Small media market?
Yeah.
No chance for advertising in that city? Imagine like the places like car dealerships, just a plethora of insane things that he'll get to endorse in New York to supplement his income.
But still, it's not something that guys do usually.
Oh, he'll take 3 or 4. The example is this.
But I'm taking the discount. I'm saying it for the...
Oh, yeah. No.
Not a lot of guys do that either way.
I think that his agent got in his ear about you're in New York City, you're this, you're that. That could have helped. I could be wrong, but that's just the gospel according to Cruz. Okay? Because you see it here in Toronto. Grady Dick came into a huge marketplace. Grady Dick came into a huge marketplace. That guy got a Razor commercial. He was on the poster. You know what I mean? So
him and Gary Trent, but they got to stop using the Trent one, I have a feeling.
And look how many Scotty Barnes commercials were there.
Subway, the trade school one, not the infamous trade school one.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so now when you talk about that, this is Toronto, which is a huge market. So guys are looking...
I haven't heard.
Okay, so you think they're getting these same opportunities in Oklahoma City, Sacramento, and Minnesota? No. So good to be in Toronto, good to be in New York. You can supplement your income. I just think it's a great thing for the team. Like Jalen Brunson's been an all-time team guy since he was in Villanova. And he's just proven what his medal is all about. Yep. Good for you, Jalen, and good for the New York Knicks.
We'll keep this moving to the other winter sport, the true winter sport, the NHL, where in Toronto there was never an off-season.
The Toronto Maple Leaf Report.
Oh, hold on.
Toronto Maple Leaf
Report.
Report.
First of all, give our condolences to Cat Friendly, officially dead now.
It is, okay. But I brought in the article if you want to read it in the paper. Puckpedia could be the slide in nicely.
Oh, it is. It already has one feature in there that Cat Friendly didn't have that I'm having a blast going. Yes.
Thank you. The agent.
Yes, the agent.
I love that. When I heard they're putting up the agent, you know me. My eyes popped out of my head. Oh, we get to see who the agent is.
All their clients, what agency they're at.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's cool to see, like, which ones are, like, it's, like, they only have one client, you know, like, who has a few guys. Because, like, Matthews and McDavid, I'm blanking on the name now, they share an agent. They only have a few guys, but, like, you look at all of them, they're all, like, big money guys or about to be big money guys.
Yeah, no, I forgot to tell you that the other night. That's I was so quick to jump on the agents when they said that. I said, I forgot. My favorite feature is going to be the agents. Because you know how much I like. What is my favorite thing? What do you think I like more? Agents or analytics? That's for a later date. Okay?
I've never seen you go out to lunch with either of them, but
No, they never freaking buy me a beer.
never cover the tab.
Never cover the tab. Screw them. But in any event, that's an interesting stat, because you can start connecting dots.
So one thing I noticed is one hab that you already have your eye on, Logan Mailloux, shares the same agent.
Stop it.
As Mitch Marner.
We're going to get to Mitch in a minute. That's Eminem, Marner, Mailloux, right?
Darren Ferris is their agent.
Okay, and guess what? That's all from the London-Toronto connections.
Oh, there you go.
You know what I mean? Like I said, that's a part I'm going to like, connecting the dots. Like you say, 5 guys, one guy's only got 5, but who are they?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I mean?
I love also Drew Doughty just representing himself on there.
Doughty is God. If there is a God, he's one of them. In every sport. Just think about, he's won championships. He's won a gold medal.
2 Olympic gold medals.
2 Olympic gold medals.
World Junior gold.
World Junior gold.
Norris Trophy.
But the way he carries himself as a professional and his performance on the ice.
Best defenseman of his era?
Oh, Hedman's close. I guess you'd say.
I'd give the edge to Doughty, though, I think.
I think I would, too. But we had the Chicago guys back there, too, at the time. What's his name in Chicago?
Yeah, but I mean, Keith is a little bit the generation before Doughty, I'd say, because he was drafted
they crossed.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? But I'd rather have Doughty anyway. But we're just talking about agents. We're getting a little off then. But
yeah.
We would be nothing. Okay, I'm going to let you continue because I got something to say.
It's finally, I guess, the calm season. A lot of the GMs, they like to have their business done by July 15th, from what I understand. So it's going to be very little movement. Only real signing of notice this past week was Ryan Suter going to the St. Louis Blues.
$775,000.
Yep.
That's okay. If he plays up to his potential.
Gets to stick around. And then I guess the big news in Leafland is something we missed last week about the signing of Jan Hakanpää. So the Leafs have still not officially announced this signing. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Okay, I go there. So we're now officially into the Toronto Maple Leaf report right now.
I guess so, yes.
Okay, the Toronto Maple Leaf report. Here we are.
So Hakanpää may never play again. Apparently, there were a lot of people. This is according to Steve Simmons. So take this with a grain of salt.
No, but it's come up on all the shows.
Yeah. So and people in the Dallas organizations were surprised that he even got a contract.
Yeah. Okay. So and like you said, it's not officially signed.
No.
I feel bad for him because it's going to start to sound like a Landeskog thing too, because he's not out of the woods yet either. And you feel sorry for these young guys. Like, this guy had potential. He had size. He had some juice. And like you say, it's a degenerative thing.
Yeah, knee thing, yeah.
Which is what Kawhi kind of has, but he ain't on skates.
No.
So that makes a hell of a difference. Good luck to the guy.
Yeah.
Good luck to the guy.
It's a $1.5 million lottery ticket, I guess, which for the Leafs, that's what, a drop in the bucket.
Gas money for the Jets.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But we got to continue on because I want to make a proclamation right here, right now. I am so hoping, because we live in the city of Toronto, where the Maple Leafs run everything from frickin' Oshawa to Hamilton, okay? Now, they've had all these salary cap problems, so I'm going to pose to you the question, which I believe could happen, what would just make the city so exciting is, what if they have 2 rookies?
That's a training camp. That's a training camp question.
Oh, boo. I still want to go on that. He won't let me. But okay, I'll have my second point. My second point in my Toronto Maple Leaf report, which I just love because he's turning into my favorite Maple Leaf. Maybe I should call it the Mitch Marner report. Okay? I am very happy that his tournament went on this weekend in golf, and he told Sportsnet and TSN to stay home. I loved it. I said, whoa, why can't he do this? Oh, this guy, no. We know what goes on in this city. He knows what goes on in this city. You can't turn on a sports show in this city without Mitch Marner's name's going to come up. And he's going to invite these guys to come to the press conference and ruin his day on the golf course. They could say something that make him shank a 9-iron. Don't take that away from the guy. Let him play. Let him have. He's collecting money for a great charity. He's got his boys coming in. They're going to have a great party.
Rick Five was there?
Yeah, a bunch of cool guys are there. So what are you going to do? You're going to mess it up by trying to poke at the guy during his golf tournament? Sportsnet, Overdrive especially. I haven't heard them lately. Wonder what they got to say about this.
Well, it's summertime, so no O-Dog, no noodles anymore.
That's why I can't watch it, because, I mean, O-Dogs, you got to like O-Dog of anything. Just because
he's the best.
Of course, no doubt. But I'd like what they have to say about this. But at the same time, how would you feel if every day, first of all, they're running you out of town. Took a month of running you out of town. Then they question your contract. Then they question your character, and then they question you as where you can be a top 6 pick on the team when they started for the 4 nations.
Well, that's whatever. That's not as big.
Okay, but anyways, you keep adding up these building blocks on one guy in the biggest hockey city in the world who's having an event for the kids, which is a very good foundation, and you want to wreck his party? Nah, no invitation.
No, he made the right call.
I think so too, didn't you?
Yeah.
So here at the House That Happens, when we hear all the other media people cry, now he let in like I think the hockey news got kicked to the curb too, but
I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, so I think they were the big 3 that got kicked to the curb, but he let in like the guys that do like the Leaf Report on podcasts, guys that have hockey related. You know, that guys that are doing it on a lower level that haven't been kicking him as hard. Like
sure.
He picked and chose the press he let in. Let's just talk about it. But I'm good with that.
I'm fine with that too. Why not?
Go Mitch Marner, man. I can't wait to get your $13 million contract.
We'll see. It's going to be a very interesting season, but we have a lot of time to talk about that, of course.
That's what we do. Well, we couldn't. You know what? Got to have the Maple Leaf Report.
Absolutely.
There you go.
We'll move this along to our favorite summer team in Toronto, the Toronto Blue Jays, who have just won 3 series in a row.
See him last night?
No, they lost.
Okay.
A lot of sack flies.
Okay. I'm going to give the Cuban guy, we can't trade him. The pitcher that pitched last night, we can't trade him because we're going to get onto that in a few minutes. This goddamn team they don't know what they're doing.
Rodriguez you're talking about.
Rodriguez, yeah. We got to keep him. He looks like he has some potential. Even if it's a 5th starter, who cares? What about the Kiermaier situation?
So I found out recently why his season went off the rails.
Personal?
No.
Why?
Because he basically came into training camp, spring training, basically saying, well, I didn't hit well enough to get paid. So he was like, I'm going to try and turn myself into like this home run hitter all of a sudden. I don't think that's how it works, Kevin.
No.
You are, especially at how old is he? 33, 34, 34. You are what you are.
And you can't hit.
If he was giving us the same performances last year, I think that'd be great. Why he couldn't come back with that mold? I don't know. I understand you want to get paid, but I mean, you're just hurting yourself now. You're hurting even worse. You're fielding worse.
Oh, but he's still one of the best defensive metrics, though. His defensive metrics is still up there. Okay, a couple times there's balls dropped in. I know what you're talking about, but those don't go against his metrics. Okay?
But his OPS is like
come on.
a hair over 500.
Does he have one?
That's embarrassing.
Okay. So I didn't think his hitting was anything to talk about last year. So to see it to go down
741 on base with the defense, you take that.
Okay, yeah, begrudgingly. Okay, because he never gets a hit when I need it.
322 on base last year.
Okay, but in any event, I'm not surprised that he got waived, which is
and still played despite being on waivers.
Yeah, because nobody claimed.
And he hit 21 doubles last year. Let's not forget.
And what's he
six triples.
What did he hit? What's he got this year? 10, if I'm lucky.
He's got 5 doubles, 2 triples, and 3 homers.
Oh, gee, that's power. But guess what? They put him on the list. He comes out, goes 2 for 4. Goes on waivers and hits 2 for 4. That's kind of interesting. I guess he had a little spark.
Not last night. He was 0 for 3 last night.
Okay, but the first game when he was on waivers 2 nights ago, he hit 2 for 4.
But I mean, the big story is that I think for me is how George Springer is getting his season back on track. OPS still under 700, but it's inching up there. I don't know if he's going to be able to hit 800 by the end of the year. That seems a little high, but 2 for 4 last night. He's still giving it his all day in, day out.
Oh, yeah, and especially on the defensive end of the field.
Yeah.
I'll take him there. Okay. So, which gets us to the...
always dependable in right field.
The boogeyman in the room. If they've put Kiermaier on waivers, is this first sign of the word SELL?
YES.
Okay. So we did not talk about this, but we thought we would bring to the table the prospects of trade material for the Toronto Blue Jays at the deadline. So I'll let you go ahead first, sir.
Well, I have 4 guys on my list that I think are pretty much slam dunks to be traded. How much we get back is obviously up in the air, but the top of the list, we already talked about Kevin Kiermaier. I think he's going to be gone. Might have to eat some salary.
Okay.
Where are we going to get back from? Maybe a minor league reliever or something. Still, the Jays farm system, I want to get to this a little bit later. Farm system sucks. Atkins and Shapiro were brought in to draft and develop. How's that gone?
The baseball experience, bro. The baseball experience. Come on. You've been to the Dome. It's a baseball experience.
It's a baseball experience.
Yeah.
Justin Turner, next on the list.
Nobody's touching him.
You don't think so?
No.
I think someone's going to take a chance on him.
You're going to be shocked when I say who I want traded.
Okay. You say Kikuchi?
Yeah, he's number one.
I don't think he's going to sign back anyways.
Yeah, no, he's the number one. He goes. He goes. And I hate to see him go, but what you got to do is I heard the best thing is, like, there's a couple guys out there. There's a guy in Arizona. There's a guy on Seattle that they've been kicking around looking for that extra guy. They got a couple guys in the minors that arms are wonky. Let's bring them over.
Let's take them in.
Let's bring them over. And they're young, under 25. Send them to Pete Walker's house.
And then my last guy is Chad Green.
Oh.
I don't think he's going to sign back, so.
Okay, here is my thing. Okay, I'll start with my four. Number four is everybody in the bullpen, except Chad Green.
He's not going to sign back, though, I don't think.
That's the scary part. But I'm saying the way the bullpen is now, if somebody wants to like take a Jimmy Garcia or a Trevor Richards or one of those guys, because they say, oh, don't worry, next year we got Swanson and Romero. Romero now had surgery, so his question.
I don't think anyone wants Richards.
No, well, anyways, I'd say anything on the bullpen that we've got right now, we've got to go. So that's one of them. My two was Kikuchi.
Yep.
Okay. My three is Varsho. If we can get them off the contract, he's up and down.
Who's playing center field next year then?
We'll figure that out. We'll get some kids. We'll get somebody in free agency.
I think the big mistake for the Jays this year was not moving him to center field full time.
Okay.
And hanging on to Kiermaier for another year.
I'm just saying I don't think he'll be traded. But if they get the right package from a team that needs a guy that might get a hit and take his defense, then he could be valuable. He might get that young pitcher. You know what I mean? So I'm saying if you're going to trade, you might as well
I don't think he's going to net that young pitcher that you want.
Well, a reclamation project and a couple guys.
The hitters at this time of the year, they don't get as much back at the deadline. It's pitchers that really you can cash in for. A guy like Varsho, that's more of an off-season move.
Probably winter meetings. Winter meetings things, okay? So the only other guy that I really thought of that would get value and he got hurt and I'd rather keep him, though, is our inner Falafa guy.
Kiner Falefa? Yeah, I don't want to trade him.
I'm saying, but he would be a trade piece if we have to be. That's what I'm saying. Because we're not going to get nothing for Schneider. No. We're not going to get nothing for Clement. We don't want to trade Horowitz. There's too much potential.
Kurt's got no value.
Kurt's got no value. We got to keep that kid Jimenez that came out of nowhere playing shortstop. He looks like he's got something in him. So we don't want to take anything away, which brings us to the elephant in the room, which is Bo Bichette.
Yeah, that's another one in the offseason. I think you have to explore trading him. I mean, his value is going to be low, so you might have to just hang on to him and gamble on him having a uptick year. But
I'm still saying this. I've always talked.
But with him, for me, for me, the number one has just been subpar defense, and then watching him in the batter's box is sometimes just infuriating.
The guy that led the league in hits 2 years ago, I don't get it either. But I'm going to say
he doesn't. But even then, he never walks. No. He's so impatient at the plate.
Agreed. And
swings at everything.
And if you add in his defense, then we've got issues here. But I'm still
big issues.
Okay, yeah. Then he's going to have to learn to move. I think eventually, or they're going to have to say something to him because let's just not say it's Vladdy's team.
Vladdy moved off third base.
Yep. Okay. So I'm just saying this. I don't want to talk about anymore if it's Vladdy's team or Bo's team. Someone get them in the room together and say, hey, man. Because if we start moving those kind of pieces, what situation are we going to be in? Are we going to be Baltimore? Or are we going to jump back like a St. Louis or a Yankees? You know what I mean? Like there's a very gray area.
Yeah.
For the Blue Jays right now, being 8 or 9 games under now, whatever the case, 8 under still.
8 games.
8 games under, and they've only got 2 more games till the All-Star break. So they're going to come out of the All-Star break at best 6 games under 500. Not too many teams. There has been a record.
8.5 games out of the wild card.
Oh, there's not many teams that have come 8.5 back. I think Arizona was one of them last year, and I think it was a Minnesota or somebody a couple years ago, or Seattle came back from 8.5. But that's a long, long road with the bullpen that we've got and a starting rotation. That's why I'm saying we can't trade Gozman. And there's a lot.
No.
MLB talks about.
My other one I want to mention: if someone backs up the Brinks truck for Bassett, I'm trading him.
Oh, I had him on my list too. I'd let Bassett go.
But it has to be, I have to get blown away by an offer. Otherwise, I'm not trading him.
Agreed. Yeah, but I'm keeping Barrios and Gozman for sure.
100%. I agree.
But I mean, Bassett, out of the big three, he's the guy. I wonder why we're both saying that. I wonder why.
I wonder
his name should be Basket, not Bassett. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Jansen's been another word out there. We don't have no catching. So
again, like who's going to be your catcher next year? And like I don't think, and again, like position players don't net you the big return at the deadline.
Agreed.
Maybe winter meetings, but again, I'd be reluctant to trade Jansen.
Okay, so let's get off.
I like Jansen a lot.
I like him, I too, and especially he's good in the dugout. They say, and he's good for the pitchers. They like him, stuff like that.
I've thought about getting a Jansen jersey, actually.
Oh, cool. I'd be yelling at anyone. I'd say, yeah, support that one over a Varsho jersey. Let me just tell you that. But
I wouldn't be caught dead with a Varsho jersey on.
Neither would I.
Mr. 30-30 himself.
Oh, killing me. Just killing me. But anyways, we're going to have next week, we're going to have our big mid-season baseball show, which will probably be 75% of the show because of all the things that we haven't caught up with, all the other things that are going on. But there's a few things going on in Major League Baseball that we've talked about that maybe we haven't agreed on. And one of them is your position on who should win the NL MVP.
Well, and my position is that, like right now, leading the charge, it's all first baseman, DH kind of guys.
I noticed that. So that means we eliminate Christian Yelich.
He's in there.
Okay, what about Bond?
But, I mean, you compare him to, there's so many guys in the NL having great seasons. That's the thing.
Okay, it seems better than... No, I can't say that. It's probably a good balance. But what about Bond, third baseman for Philadelphia? He plays every day. Look at his numbers. He's good. Bryce Harper's numbers are suddenly rising.
Well, he's a first baseman.
Oh, that's true, too. Yeah, we got another first baseman. Damn it. But
for me, it's between Shohei, it's between Ozuna.
Ozuna's
between Bryce Harper and Freddie Freeman.
I'd rather have Bond in there. I think Bond, the third baseman, I don't think he gets enough street cred. He's hitting 280, I think 13 homers, 70 RBIs, OPS over 8.
But you need guys OPS over 9 for this conversation, though, is my point.
He's close. I think he get there by the end of the year. But
Mookie Betts isn't in the conversation for me because of his defense at shortstop, which is a little subpar.
But I'd still put him up there if he was still playing, just because I think his offense would outweigh that in the long term. But he's missed how many games now?
A bunch now.
Yeah, and I think a few more that he will no longer be eligible for any other thing because he won't have the at-bats. But Mookie is definitely one of the best players in the league. Come on.
Absolutely. It's just, I liked him more as a right fielder than I did as a shortstop. Than I do as a shortstop, I should say.
I agree, but I'm interested that you put Freddie Freeman in there, even though he's having a solid season.
All of his numbers are just as consistent as ever.
Okay, so then take a quick look at Teoscar's numbers beside him.
He doesn't have the
batting average.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's got the power. So I'm just saying, and
his OPS is under 800. I can't put him in the MVP conversation. I'm sorry.
That's only because no, I'm not saying that.
Solid numbers though. He's having a tremendous season. I wish he was still playing I wish he was wearing our color blue on his hat.
Definitely too, and our boy Gurriel's having a good season too.
I believe it.
So that's just where we're at. But anyways, I'm saying that I believe it's going to be Osuna or Ohtani. Because you got to factor in the fact that they're winning teams too. They're winning their division. They're there.
They're leading the charge.
But the reason I had to throw it up for Baum is because Philadelphia just swept the Dodgers.
Yes, they did. A little potential preview of the NLCS.
That's what I'm saying. So they swept them. They didn't beat them. And that front end rotation on Philadelphia, I put that up against any rotation in the majors right now. Which gets me to my next thing that we should be discussing, which is an old school argument over whether or not we want more eyes on the screen situation.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Do you think Paul Skeens should be starting for the National League in the All-Star game?
I do.
You're killing me.
Okay, this isn't a thing. It's not like the All-Star game the way it used to be where you're playing for home field advantage for the World Series. This is a made-for-TV event. This is pure silliness. It's a kids' game that we're playing just for funsies. You wanted to draw in the most eyes on the game as possible, especially at the beginning. Why would you not put the kid in there?
Because you want to see him pitching against Aaron Judge.
Exactly.
Okay, so maybe I'm a traditionalist. So now that we got guys it was always since I was a kid, like sometimes the NL starter was a guy you didn't even know because he freaking backfired in the second half. like a Doc Ellis or guys over the years that got the start, and in the second half they had the worst time going. But when it got to the All-Star game, you usually commend the guy who's had the best performance on the field. Now, here's what happened to Skeens. Now, if he had been there since the beginning of the season, because my favorite pitch, one of them of all times, is Mark Fidrich. And he started the All-Star game as a rookie, but he was won 14 games, had 10 complete games before it started. And this was before the arbitration shit. Because the only reason that Skeens didn't start the season is because they waited after May, so they had one more year of eligibility.
That nonsense.
Yes, that nonsense. So now maybe he could have had the numbers that would show he's there, because obviously he's one of the best pitchers in the National League as we speak.
Yeah.
However, I just don't think that he's put enough bricks up in that house yet. We got Chris Sale, who's one of the best stories in baseball, on Atlanta. We got Suarez guy on Philadelphia. These guys have had just monster years, and they're probably going to be Cy Young leaders, But
Skeens has been striking out everybody.
Okay, so I'm going to have to say I better be careful what I was saying, because we had this argument.
6-0 record in 11 starts, a 1.9 ERA.
2 blown saves in his starts.
Wow.
So he would be 8-0, not 6-0.
89 strikeouts in those 66 and a third innings, and a .92 whip.
When does he get his Tommy John? Oh, sorry.
That's not,
I didn't mean that.
That's not nice.
Okay, I didn't mean that. But in any event, I know what you're saying. It's been the argument all over the place in baseball. And the bottom line is your argument's going to win, because baseball needs everything it needs to get eyes back on there as much as they can, especially away from a regional situation, because they're talking nationally now. So all eyes will be on the game. It's good for Pittsburgh, too.
Which is a big reason why Pete Alonso made the All-Star game instead of a bunch of guys for the Mets.
Come on.
They basically told him, hey, if you want me in the home run derby, you got to put me in the big game as well.
Oh, and guess what? He gets an incentive of his contract, too. You know that.
Oh, there we go.
So it just all adds up. But
and the Mets in a playoff spot now. Them and the Cardinals tied for that second wild card spot, actually. And they're only 4 games back of the Braves now.
Braves are in a little bit of trouble because their rotation. Buddy got hurt. And they haven't really found a solid fifth starter. Fried's had a couple of rough outings along the way. So,
But this NL wildcard, though, you have the Diamondbacks and the Padres a game out.
All the way back. Remember earlier I said the Diamondbacks won't repeat as a playoff team?
I told you, watch out.
Oh, here they come.
Them and the Padres a game out. Pittsburgh's 2.5 out. And then the Cubs, the Reds, and the Giants are 3 games out. So this is going to go right down to September.
Oh, I agree, which is great for fans in everyone of that city, because what we'll be doing is wondering about the new acquisitions we got at the trade line are going to be any good in the future.
We'll see.
Okay, on with the show. This is it.
Yeah,
God, the Blue Jays are killing us, bro. Remember in the beginning of the season we said our worst nightmare is this? It's here. Wake me up. Somebody help.
We will move this along to the Copa America, where Canada unfortunately did not win their semifinal matchup against Argentina. They will be playing Uruguay for third place tonight. Canada should keep the allocation money towards developing Canadian soccer this time instead of putting it in the pockets of the higher-ups, but that's just me.
Can you tell them how much money is going in? The biggest money that the Canadian team has taken in ever, right?
Yep.
$8 million, people, $8 million for making it to the third place game at Copa. I think that's pretty damn good.
It's amazing.
Okay.
And you have Gold Cup next year, which is another chance for a little bit more, not as much allocation money, but a little bit more in the pocket.
Oh, I'm looking at it this way, though. If this is like, in a mild comparison, this is how far we want to see our basketball team get, who's got more hype. And our soccer team did get there already. So that's an amazing accomplishment for Canadian basketball, and it can't be underestimated, at this point in time. However, let's just talk about this whole Copa nonsense that's been going on. We'll get to this in a minute, but being somebody that's watching both very fervently, I just sometimes to kind of turn away, because I called you up and said the Uruguay Panthers are a crazy-ass team, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. And they put the period on the sentence at the end of that Colombia game.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll get to there in a minute. But first of all, they eliminated the Americans in one of the worst refereed games in the history of games. Now, the Americans should have played better. Like, I'm not trying to...
They played like trash, yeah.
Okay, anyways. But did they get off their game because Uruguay came out with elbows high? I don't know. Every team's got to play like that. You got to know.
A questionable goal was allowed.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So,
which, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but the VAR, the video system referee, probably should not be in use in the Copa America, because there are not enough cameras to make sure it's accurate enough.
Which is a total contrast to what we see going on in the Euros.
Oh, there's cameras like everywhere, 360 around the stadium.
I don't know why. And here's one of the big failures when we're talking about this. God bless America, and they don't know who to have for president. But this is in America, land of the free, home of the brave. Okay, and you barely can find an American or Canadian referee.
Well, because it's a South American tournament.
Yeah, that's right. So everybody comes from there. So guess what? Do you see how they talk about Canada? If you go to South America and you talk about the press right now, this is an anomaly. We don't even know how they get there. Where is Canada? Who are they? And then they come out and play us. First of all, they talk about us like a hockey country. Mm-hmm. And then they come out and play against us rougher than ever. Look at the headbutts and all the nasty things that have happened to Canada and the Americans too. You know, a lot of like that insanely physical play, which I don't mind if you're going to call it evenly on both sides, but it just seems to be some kind of a discrepancy in the way they call the games. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And to tell you the truth, that Colombia and Nicaragua game almost turned, they should have just gave max handles after a while.
Uruguay, not Nicaragua.
Yeah, I mean, Uruguay and Colombia, that just turned into a big, big mess. Now, not only the mess that was on the field, but the after game thing is, America has failed miserably here, just on the security measures that they took to protect the family and teams. So let's talk about this for a second. My baby daughter is sitting in mama's lap, and I got 100 drunk Colombians throwing and coming in. It look like they're going to threaten them. What are you going to do?
Oh, I'm going in there to protect them.
I'm going in head first. So now, have you seen the Uruguay coaches press conference, which is epic? Just epic. I'm glad they had translators, but you just hear his tone of voice and know where he was going at. They might have sanctions against Uruguay because of this. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been decided. I think cooler heads will prevail. And they'll say, hey.
Well, if there hasn't been suspensions by now, like the game's tonight.
Yeah, but they're saying later.
Oh, fair enough.
And I think they will do something because that's how weird South America is going to be. I hope not, man, because let's talk about this on a moral level, which is high in the house that happens. I'm going into the crowd. All there is to it. And where was security?
I have no idea.
They were out back having a smoke. They rushed in and took control in 6 or 7 minutes. But if they had the proper security in the first place, then we wouldn't have had the incident. We wouldn't be talking about the incident. Don't you agree?
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I don't get, like, for the Colombian fans, like, how much of a loser do you have to be? Like, you already won.
Yes.
Your team won, and then you're attacking, like, the wives and kids. Like, you're a goof.
Alcohol.
Get out of here.
Alcohol. It's bad.
Yeah, no, that's not. But you decide to ingest that alcohol. This is on you.
No, I agree.
No,
I couldn't agree more.
Loser behavior.
Thank you very much. It's a black mark on their thing, and another reason why I guess I'll be cheering for Argentina. If I'm going to be cheering for anything.
Yeah.
But one of the other issues is they're going to have to bring up here is the field conditions on some of the stadiums that they've played Copa on are insane.
Well, because they're football stadiums.
Oh, they better put some grass in next year. We're going to have some issues, man. Like, you see the sliding and falling and going and all that kind of nonsense, which gave those players more of an opportunity to flip-flop and fly, because I've seen way more than that in Copa than I've seen in Euro, and I think it has to do with the video replays. Mm-hmm. You know, the angles with which they have and everything like that, that's been the difference, but that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it should be interesting come 2 years. And for World Cup, going into this tournament, 2 years away, if I were to say to you, out of Canada, the States, and Mexico, that Canada would be in the best position,
I'd be insane.
Yeah.
I just think Mexico is just like they're going from young guys to old guys. Isn't that the word around the campfire?
I have no idea. I know their program's been a mess for basically even since like the last World Cup rotation.
Yeah, they've had issues down there. But I mean, that's just Mexico, though. I thought, and like they've made World Cup in the last couple times going around.
They're basically guaranteed to go to the World Cup.
And then they didn't.
They haven't made it past the group stage in a while.
No, that's true.
If I recall correctly.
That's true too. But that just tells you, and I think I mentioned this on the last show. If you ever had the opportunity, like I do, to have multi-screens and you put a Copa game on against a Euro game, you think they're playing a different sport at times. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind rough and I don't mind aggressive, but then there's crossing the line, Uruguay. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Colombia is no saints either.
No.
They're not saints. Argentina can be known to get a little chippy when they feel like it. The biggest disappointment is Brazil not showing up.
They're another program that's just been a giant mess. Lost in penalties to Uruguay. It should not have even gone there.
No, and Brazil had more chances, but why didn't they just kick some of those guys back? because they started looking over their shoulders later in the game for these guys, which is a typical Florida Panther kind of move. So I got no love for Uruguay, as you can tell, except for the fact that the weed is legal in that country. That's the only good thing I could think about them right now. But I hope that there's no sanctions against the team, and I respect every player in that team that jumped in the crowd to protect their family.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That third place game will be tonight from Charlotte, the same stadium that the soccer team and the Carolina Panthers play in. And did you notice, the Canada-Argentina game, did you notice the audio wasn't synced up properly?
Yes. I thought it was a feed.
I don't know what was going on, but the audio was was ahead. Because people started going cheering before the chance for Argentina's first goal. I'm like, what the hell happened here? And the national anthems, it was messed up.
So what happened? Do you think the audio feed was different than the video feed?
Something wrong with the syncing.
100%. You could feel. I thought it was my TVs for a while.
Yeah, we couldn't figure out what it was at first either, but
kind of weird. But anyways, we should have a good game tomorrow. And like I was saying,
I think Canada can win this third place game.
Oh, I think
tonight.
so too. You know what I'm afraid of? That it's going to turn into Colombia being Colombia. That we're going to have to for the
Uruguay, you mean?
I mean, Uruguay. Yeah, we're going to have to answer their physicality. That's going to be the main thing. And I hope that we get some level field. What would you call it? Refereeing.
Yes. And then the final tomorrow night from Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Argentina, Colombia. I'll be rooting for Argentina, even though they're the obvious favorites.
Yep. And this is Messi's swan song, they're saying.
Looks to
Copa.
be.
You know, he did get a goal against Canada.
He finally got off the schneid.
Yeah, so
got his goal.
It's pretty good. But let's tell the truth here. I've learned a lot about soccer, and let's go to the Euros, where the real game is being played. This has been, I don't know, somebody tell me, and the more I've been talking to people, they were saying that this tournament has been a little bit better, like the quality of play.
Yeah. No, it's been a great tournament.
Oh, good, because I think it's been very, very good. For a guy who knows nothing about soccer, really, I've been actually enthralled by some of the games. You know, the drama. I'm absolutely going this is amazing. I'm just thinking about, before we talk about where we get there, don't forget what happened along the way. Like some of the games, let's get to the round of 16. Don't forget that Belgium and France played an insane game. But now we're here, we forget about that. That, to me, was an amazing game.
Well, now they're both out.
But I think that winner of that game was going to win anyway. France and Spain. I thought France was every bit as good there as them that just did that. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the 16-year-old kid who will be 17 today, right?
Well, let's jump back a bit. I'm going to talk about the quarterfinals a little bit. The Spain-Germany match with...
Oh, that was amazing. That's one on my list too, right here. You know what I mean? That was a great game. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Another thing is, when you got to the other round there, how Turkey beat Austria.
Yeah.
And then immediately got their ass kicked because I didn't think they were that good.
But that was a crazy game, too, against the Dutch, whereas, they were in control in that first half, but then the second half, the Dutch started to find their way. 2 late goals, then bye-bye Turkey.
And I thought that the Netherlands had a good chance of beating England. They're a good team. We go back to the beginning. They're one of the teams that I mentioned, and I know nothing, but the Netherlands have been there.
Oh, they look strong.
You know, another good game that I thought was very, very good, and then Portugal didn't go any farther either, was Slovenia showed that they had a good tournament. They lost to Portugal, but that was another game that I thought was really, really good. They have that kid, what's his name, Sesko? Is that the kid on Slovenia? That guy was magic. He couldn't score. But, I mean, that was a very, very, very good game as far as I was concerned. You know what I mean? And the Swiss did scare England early before they got there. Before they got to the Netherlands, the Swiss gave England a scare because maybe England hasn't played their best game yet.
Well, the interesting thing about England is that all 3 of these knockout stage matches that they've played, they have conceded the first goal.
Which is, what do they say, unheard of in the history of winning. And not only
and
that.
Yet here they are in the final.
Okay, but here's
championship final.
First time a team has won 6 games with Spain, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Something like that. That's another weird one that went along. Spain is just when they played France, and I seen the Netherlands game, and I thought of the Netherlands. I thought might have give the winner of the France-Spain a little bit of a better run, but England pulled it out in the end. But I don't think we've seen our best game from England yet. Maybe this is going to be their best game.
Maybe.
Because look, they've scored late. They're always behind.
That seems to wake them up.
Well, maybe that's the case, but tomorrow I will.
Well, if you do that against Spain, you're playing with fire.
You're done. You're done. You know what I mean? Because if you look at the France-Spain game, 3 goals were scored in the first 24 minutes. And the
first 25.
25, okay. Okay, 3 goals, and nothing was scored after that. But that second half, was a game of chess. The way both teams battled, like it wasn't boring at all.
Well, if you think of both those semifinal matches, it was one team scoring in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the other team came back to win. Both of them.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. But I mean, I didn't see, I didn't think it was boring.
No.
Because they didn't score in the second half. I didn't think it was boring at all. I just thought it was a well-played, strategic, very good players. I really think that the front 3 of France is as good as anybody in the world.
Oh, agreed.
Those 3 guys are as good as anybody. And that goal that Mbappe set up, my God, that was a beauty. One of the best-looking goals. Like, he didn't score it, but if it wasn't for his play, nobody scores. But those 3 French guys are amazing.
But the big headline is Yamin Lamal with his tremendous goal. And he just turned 17 today.
Today. Is it 17 today? He's 16 years old. Did you see? And had the moxie to fake the move, step, shoot. 16.
Congratulations, Barcelona. You have another generational talent.
Oh, my God. It was so good. It was great to see. Should be an amazing final.
Yeah, and then that Netherlands-England game, the craziness of Kane getting pulled out and his replacement scoring the winning goal in the 90th minute.
Crazy.
Insane.
That's just sports at its finest, though, don't you think?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm expecting an outstanding game tomorrow.
I mean, credit to England. I did not think they would get this far, but
I know.
2 Euro finals in a row.
But you got to go home with something.
Exactly.
They got to go home. You know what I mean? They're the Toronto Maple Leafs of freaking.
No, they really are.
Of the Euros, you know, when you think about it. So maybe this is their time. I think they're in tough, though.
I think they're in I'm going to pick Spain to win this one.
I'm picking Spain to win, too.
I'm worried it could get ugly.
Really?
Yeah.
In what way?
That Spain's just going to turn it on and score a ton of goals.
Oh. I think England's defense strong enough. Their goalie's been solid.
Let me take you back to 2012.
Okay.
Italy had their own miracle run to the 2012 final where we ran into the dominant Spain team. You know what the score of that final was?
4-0.
Exactly.
Okay. You got to point.
That is the most upset I've ever been watching sports, that game.
Especially when you get that far and just get bitch slapped. Ooh.
That was a tough game to watch. It's a tough game to even think about.
Well, you know what I mean? So I just want to say a few things here before we go on, is that the fact that people don't understand, especially since me, and I'm understanding it more, that when you're a player on this level at the Euros, you get understood, you're as big as any NBA star on the planet. Mm-hmm. Your star is that big. So we don't see that because we're in North America. We think the sun shines out of our asses, which it doesn't, especially when you go there. So look at some of the superstars that we got to see in this tournament. This Musiala guy for Germany. Look, he's still young. How big is he going to be? Oh.
Sky's the limit.
You
21 years old.
There you go. I love that. Not only that, which makes them even more dangerous, is that the Germans had that Havertz combination to go with him, which made that game against Spain such a great game. Because they showed up too, considering the front end with Nico Williams, the other guy, and the kid, Yamal. That's really good. Of course, Bellinger got my attention for England. I'm expecting him, if he has a big game tonight. Bellingham. That guy is amazing. How old is he?
21.
21 years old. The only guy that's a little bit older who I thought was really got my attention was that Gakpo guy for the Netherlands.
Yeah, yep.
He played really, really well. And the guy that we didn't get to see anymore was the kid from Slovenia because he got knocked out too early. But
Slovakia.
No, Slovenia, isn't it?
The one who scored 3 goals?
No, he's from Slovakia.
Yeah.
But I thought the kid that was even better was this Sesko kid from Slovenia. I thought he was amazing. He didn't score a lot, and he's 19, 20, 21 or 22. He should have had goals, but he didn't. But I'm saying in the next time we come around, if he's one of the guys that we're talking about, I wouldn't be surprised in my learning of the game, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know?
And the Golden Boot still up for grabs. Dani Olmo of Spain and Harry Kane of England, each among the 6 tied for 3 right now. But they have a chance to break it and lead the way here.
So how does it work if it ends up a tie? The team that went the farthest, the guy.
Well, it goes by minutes played. So whoever's played the least minutes gets the tiebreaker for the Golden Boot.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I believe Harry Kane would be in line to win it right now.
Yeah, because he got taken out a couple times late, right?
Yeah.
The other guy didn't. That's quite interesting. Anyways, I'm just wondering what the ratings are going to be in Europe for this game tomorrow.
Massive. Massive.
I figured that's...
Like, I know the two top sporting events watched worldwide are the World Cup final and the Champions League final, but then I believe the UEFA final is not far behind.
That makes sense to me. Just a little side note that I think is going to be interesting is that now that I watched both of these games so closely, I just say I'm going to be looking at the World Cup a little bit different in a couple of years, because then the combination of games that go from one to the other, play one to the other, is going to be just, I'm going to be aware of the playing style difference. Like, what if Uruguay plays Denmark?
Whew.
What kind
Might happen.
That's what I'm saying. But I mean, like, just imagine that. You wouldn't even think of that because they're playing in completely different things. But if you go to the World Cup, you could have a matchup of, Uruguay against Denmark. That's got to be, I'm just fascinated to see what's going on there, because it seems like your word is correct. European teams seem to be more structured. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. So,
meanwhile, South America, it's chaos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've learned that very quickly in my Soccer 101 class. You know what? You learn quickly. But anyways, everyone watch the show tomorrow. It should be very amazing.
Should be amazing. And now it is time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everyone in the world's favorite segment. It's the Gospel According to Cruz.
I would be remiss if I didn't have to end this after 1 month. How long has this lasted? 3 weeks.
About a month.
Anyways, I would be remiss if I didn't actually go over what have I learned from watching more soccer in 1 month than I probably watched in the last 10 years, okay? So let's get to the chase on here. I'm an amateur. What do I know about the game? More soccer is watched on a regular basis, except for maybe the NFL. I mean, the NFL is not worldwide, but they're getting there. So just think about that, people. All the sports we watch here, hockey, baseball, football, basketball, soccer is still watched more in the world than all of those things. So that's something you got to be aware of right off the bat. Then there's always this thing I've heard for years and years and years. It's called the beautiful game. Well, when I watch the European game, I'm going, it is a beautiful game, because I watch the skill, the deftness, the movements. Some of the best athletes in the world are playing soccer. That's no doubt about it. However, there is a little discrepancy I find when I'm calling it the beautiful game, and then I got to watch Uruguay play Colombia. What's beautiful about that? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I just go, I don't know. I get confused about the play. I'll learn about that later. But some of the things that really drive me crazy is the fact that there is nuances that go on in soccer that I just can't get, and it's because I'm too old and getting up too early. For example, one more time I will say, can someone tell me the rules about the yellow card? Because if I watch all the soccer, I get some, I don't get some. Another thing I don't understand, and I'm going to say once again, because I'm going to hammer this point home, every time I see this penalty time go on, I'm weirded out because I'm a gambler. So I don't care what anybody says. If you got about $1,000 to win and they add on 4 minutes and you lose your $1,000, I want to know why it wasn't 2 minutes. So that's just something that I'm going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to say that I'll never understand why you're going to have the highest level of competition end on a shootout, because then it turns out to be a bit of a fluke. So you're in the game that's the most watched in the world, some of the greatest athletes that you can possibly see, and it comes down to whether a goalie jumps right or left at the same time. That weirds me out because I'm North American. Another thing is, sometimes I watch the Euros, and I thought it was like an NHL power play. These guys boot the ball, shoot the goddamn ball, please. Now, I know there's attempts and it's going on, but sometimes, unless you're Belgium, because they don't pass, except for them, why don't you kick the ball more? That's another thing. I don't understand when you get in that little thing in there and you freaking get a chance to go and you don't shoot the ball and the goalie kicks it the other way and the whole momentum of things, I go, weird, what happened there? So I'm not quite versed on that way to go. And then sometimes I'm saying to myself, if that guy flops on the ground, how many seconds is he flopping? So how do you know who's doing it? Does someone have a time watch? Is there someone in the press box? I don't know. But here's the answer to all of my questions, and it's pretty goddamn simple. I was born in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia, and I was brought up in Windsor, Ontario. Last time you checked, that's right. America breathes down my throat. So you know me, Final Four, Super Bowl, Stanley Cup, all that stuff there that people don't even know about in Europe. This has eclipsed it by far. Not only that, this is traditional stuff. So anything that I'm saying, I've got no say in the matter because this is civilizations that have been around for hundreds of years, that have been playing a game for over 100 years, that have geopolitical rivalries that sometimes come onto the field to make the games crazier. And there's nothing in North America that's ever like that. Europe is, South America is a little different, but they don't have the depth and breadth of civilization that Europe does. So if they've decided that they're going to have flops, shootouts, penalty times, and all the other nuances that I don't understand, they created the game and they created the traditions. That's like coming over here and trying to tell us how they want to change rules in hockey or baseball. It doesn't make any sense because those guys haven't put into time to establish a sport that has risen to this level of the highest competition of all times. So what is going to fascinate me more than anything is I love the drama of some of these games so much. As I just alluded to earlier, I want to see the interchange between the crazy teams and the structured teams coming in 2 years, because then that's going to give me an even brighter look, greater understanding of why they call this a beautiful game. And Mr. Milani, I'm glad you kicked my ass and say, let's pay attention to this because I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Wow, love to hear that.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Definitely, 100%.
So one thing, so you brought up like who's timing when the guy's on the ground. That's actually the referee, and that's how you determine the added time there. And I guarantee if you watch more soccer, you'll be able to predict how much time they add.
I'm listening to the guy in the booth. They've blown it 3 or 4 times. They said 4 minutes, it was 7. One time the guy said it's got to be 6 or 7, it's 3. So
okay,
now
if you watch the game, I guarantee you'll be better than them. Because I've like me and the people I watch with, we're usually pretty good at calling it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's a nuance that I haven't, a traditional nuance I don't know about the game. You know what I'm saying? So I have no say in this matter. I'm just a guy shooting my mouth off, don't know a goddamn thing. I'm going to fix your car and I'm an airline pilot. No, that doesn't work like that, okay? You know what I'm saying? So, but it's raised my curiosity enough, or the quality of the games and the performances has piqued me enough that I'm going to go back and learn more. Maybe, like you said, pay a little bit more attention to where it's going on. I'm just used to let's stop the time. You know what I mean? Like in the NHL, you drive a guy through the boards, just scrape him off the field, clock stop. NFL, you break a guy's neck, stop the clock.
No, but like soccer, rugby, the clock doesn't stop.
No. And how long have we been doing that since? 100 and how many years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
So some guy grew up in South Windsor that's 65 years old is going to tell the soccer elitists, hey, man, what are you thinking? They're booting my ass right off the boat. Throw this guy overboard. Shut up.
And with penalties, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit before. It's like you can't just have like unlimited substitutions. Otherwise, you're going to change the complete makeup of the game that way, right?
Point well taken. I forget about that too.
Yeah, it's the lesser of the evils because, like, let's not forget in 1968, Italy won the Euros on a coin flip.
Oh, bro, you're killing me. You're
It
killing
would be either a coin flip or like they would just completely replay the game the next day.
Wow.
I think penalties the lesser of the evils there.
Okay, I'll agree with that. But like I said, as a North American guy who, like I'm a sports junkie. Everybody knows it, but there's some sports that I don't know about well enough that have piqued my attention. And just think of this, the advent of cable and streaming in the last 10 years has exponentially put the eyes of the soccer world in North America bigger than it ever has. You know what I mean? People know who Mbappe is. Everyone knows Messi. Everyone knows Ronaldo. That Bellingham kid, he's rising up the ladder. That kid from Spain is going to be known. They're the next generation of those $100 million contracts. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So it's interesting. You know.
And then the yellow cards, we could talk about that a little bit later. Although, what game was it now where there was a controversial penalty call?
I think it was in England. They got it against the English guy. When you see the replay, it was the Netherlands guy that pulled his legs out.
No, that's not the one I'm thinking of. There was one where like a guy was like kind of like got his spikes up to block, and then they still called it.
There was a couple of those I don't get.
That was a borderline one, but
And let's not talk about the offsides. I left that out, okay? Because I'll give that to the video.
Offsides and offsides and offsides. So.
Some of them are just, I don't know.
Were you ahead or not?
What's that?
Were you ahead or not? That's all that matters. It doesn't matter if you were like half a foot or whatever. You were ahead of the guy.
If I was a soccer player, I'd shave my head. Just so if you're Nico Williams, he puts one of those things forward, he's offside. You know? And especially when it has no...
But we're seeing this in hockey now, too, so...
But, I mean, it's... Oh, and one other thing the one thing that I've noticed is in common is the best scorers in Euro are pure cherry pickers. Mbappe, Bellinger, Harry Kane, Nico Williams, you name them. They're all cherry pickers. Now, every once in a while, they'll come flying back and make a defensive play because I guess that was their man coming back. Mm-hmm. But come on, they're cherry pickers, man.
Mbappe, I don't know if I'd call him a cherry picker. He's more of a winger.
Yeah, but he covers that ring really well. But then sometimes he curls into the middle and sits around and waits.
Having a good poacher, that's just
name
part
it
of soccer,
again. Not part
Look
of
at when TFC won. Josie Altidore, pure poacher.
All time. But that's what I'm saying. That's another nuance of the game that I have to understand because both teams play that way. Yep. Spain got a goal like that up the middle. Remember the guy was sitting there and the goalie kicked it over. A guy puts it ahead. There he goes.
Sometimes you just need a guy with a big ass that you can't move.
That's all. He sounds like a defenseman in the NHL. You know what I mean?
And I think that's the perfect place to end off this show.
I would think so too.
Anything else you'd like to shout out?
Gonna have a kind of a melancholy celebration this afternoon. Cody McDonald is having a celebration of his life for his father, who unfortunately died well before his time. So, Cody, hopefully I'll see you there this afternoon.
Absolutely.
And, of course, one more shout out to Jenna. Give us a note if you're feeling well.
Absolutely.
Is Radhika still listening?
Radhika is still listening.
Giving her a shout out.
Giving her a shout out.
As I usually do.
This will do it for us here at The House That Happens, presented by Shuey's Bar and Grill in Etobicoke. The one place to be, of course. I'm Andrew Milani.
I distracted him. Did I ever tell you this before we go? I know he's Milani. But if you're listening to this show, he's not an associate. He's an accomplice. Hi, my name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Milani.
And what do?
We keep the vibe alive. You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.